Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Sound Art introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. Sound Art ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
The riveting action from the Magic Mile last week has us coming back for more. This evening, the L-TAC Cup Series heads back to the bread and butter of the NASCAR schedule with a mile and a half here in virtual Fort Worth, Texas this evening. Welcome race fans to Pit Stop TV. Trey Shuttlesworth joins me on mic, Corey Rexford on social media coverage, and my name is Emerson Arden, and this is Pit Stop TV's live coverage of the L-TAC Cup Series. As we know, you have many options to watch sim racing action this evening, and we thank you for choosing Pit Stop TV and tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Undergoing a reconfigure prior to the 2017 NASCAR season, seeing turns 1 and 2 become wider and flatter, the Texas Motor Speedway has been a staple double 500-mile event in the Cup Series since it opened in 1997, going with the "Everything's Bigger in Texas" slogan. Tonight we have 250 miles scheduled for these guys tonight. And Trey, what are some of the challenges you can expect these Cup cars to incur in tonight's race?
First of all, I want to say thank you for tuning in tonight, everyone. I think we're going to have a heck of a show. It's my first time in a while since I've been on board calling an L-TAC Cup Series race. But one thing we know about the series is that the winner is purely unpredictable. You have no idea who is going to come away with the victory on a given night. I look at the standings from the season, and we have over half a dozen winners, so I think we're in store for a pretty competitive event tonight. But no, just to get down to the subject at hand, and that is the fact that we are at the Texas Motor Speedway tonight. Quite frankly, as someone who uses the iRacing.com service as a virtual driver from time to time, I don't think I've ever locked the lap in the NASCAR Cup Series car on the reconfiguration of Texas Motor Speedway. But just based off of real life, what we do have is a unique challenge for the drivers. We have that massive reduction in banking. Well, when I say massive, it's only a few degrees, but it makes so much difference. It widens out quarters 1 and 2 a massive amount to the point where you have a lot of even excess road on the outside, especially considering how smooth the circuit is. So that will be an incredibly difficult challenge for these drivers, and it may be an opportunity to pull away with quite a bit of time if you're someone that can figure out 1 and 2, especially when you compare that to the very much more high-speed turns 3 and 4, which retain a lot of the characteristics of the track prior to its reconfiguration in 2017. So basically, we should be in for a lot of fun tonight. This is an intermediate track, and that's much more I can say than that. Emerson, you were here in person, though, if I do remember correctly, for the NASCAR Cup Series event in the fall of 2020.
Yep.
Anything you can take from that?
Absolutely. To be fair, that was a very dark and gloomy and rainy day, and I only went for the first 53 laps before the race was red flagged and not ran until Wednesday. But out of those 53 laps, you could really see that if you were making up time, if you were pulling from the guys behind you, it was all in 1 and 2. 3 and 4, with this reconfiguration with the 550 horsepower Cup cars is basically wide open. And if these guys are running open setups, it is wide open, depending on how you set your car up. Maybe on the long run, you have to, let off and save some tires, but for sure, the time you make up, where you gain and lose is that entry to turn 1, and when you pick up the throttle in turn 2.
I would have to say then that is going to present a pretty exciting challenge, especially someone that likes the tracks that might not have a whole lot of banking. It gives you an opportunity, even in these, as you said, low horsepower, high downforce vehicles, it gives you an opportunity as a driver to really show that you have a lot of ability in terms of throttle management and being intelligent about when to get off the throttle and then when to get back into it. And then, as you said, 3 and 4 will basically be a chance to garner a lot of slipstream, it sounds like.
Absolutely. If you can set yourself up nicely out of turn 2, you'll have the entire back straightaway, turns 3 and 4, and the front straightaway quad oval to set yourself up for an overtake into turn 1. That's really where all the passing is going to be done. 3 and 4, you're really only going to be making overtakes there if you're on a heavy difference in tire age, or somebody makes a mistake ahead of you. That's pretty much where you're going to be doing the overtakes in 3 and 4. But turn 1 is where we're going to see a lot of the overtakes, I think. Maybe to exit a 4. I don't know. It's going to be fun to watch. I've never covered a broadcast at the reconfigure at this track as well. I did NAS here back in the fall before I left for my trek out to Texas Motor Speedway. But enough about our running on iRacing. Let's take a look at the point standings. Holden McGill, 37 points above Joseph. Logan Hamilton, third. Merrick Watchorn, the next winner on that list, in fourth. We're still waiting for Joseph and Logan Hamilton to seek victory lane. Last week, Logan Hamilton was leading in the closing stages at New Hampshire, got into a fierce battle with Jack B. Ryan, but to no avail. There was a late race yellow, and Jack B. Ryan was beautiful on restarts. He sits 6th in the point, Jack B. Ryan. Taylor Butcher Benjamin quiet in 5th. Grant Peterson 7th, Derek Rolleveld 8th. They both have wins on the season. Peterson has 2. Jeremy Berger in 9th, and Kevin Franks in the 10th position. Those 10 drivers in the playoffs. Trey, what about the next 10?
Yep, you did a pretty good job of covering the top 10, but looking beyond that, that's where we really get to the important stuff when you're looking in terms of, hey, am I a driver that's attempting to get into these L-TAC Cup Series playoffs? If so, I need to start to focus on that because the races just continue to tick and tick away. Eventually, we'll get to that regular season cutoff. And yeah, you are seeing a couple of drivers that are relatively close to the border and have a victory, whether that be Zach Arnold or Anthony Musatti, who picked up a win relatively recently, but we have a lot of talking points because, I mean, even looking at the cutoff, you see that Stefan Purcell and Barrett Uphold, they're sharing that last position, that 16th position to get into the playoffs, and there's a lot of drivers also within that range who could potentially get into the top 16 tonight. And honestly, at this point in time, you just want to gunner up as much momentum as possible to take into this late run in the regular season.
Absolutely. Yeah, Stefan Purcell, Barrick Uphold, they were around each other all race at New Hampshire as well. And if they keep running like that, like they have the first 12 races of the season, that could be very, very important. They're tied here. Can you imagine what it is at that regular season cutoff? We'll have to find out then. But of course, Frank Flores, Brett Fisher, they're just in. Ryder Strauss, Sean Deal, they're just out. You can still see those drivers make their way in. Heading into tonight's race, practice is coming to a close, and we are getting ready to get to qualifying here, Trey. And yeah, qualifying very important here at Texas. It's difficult to overtake on the reconfigure. To be quite fair, it is hard to overtake just because it's all about setting it up and then having to make the right overtake point. If you make the move into turn 3 and you're both going wide open, you're just really going to be scrubbing your tires if anything. Yeah, you really have to have the run in the turn 3. It's got to be really into 1, and it's so hard to get the run and sustain a run all the way from the exit of turn 2 to the entry of turn 1.
No, as a driver of a stock car, that's the one thing you had to be also considerate of, is just the fact that it doesn't take a whole of a lot to start to wear into the tread of the virtual Goodyear Eagles that you have. And it oftentimes seems like when you make those aggressive side-by-side moves, you are incorporating a massive element of risk, and you can really see that start to pay negative dividends over the course of a run. If you're someone that had to, say, start in the rear of the field because of a poor qualifying run, you'll eventually get into the run to a point in time where you may be a driver who has, front pack pace, but you just ran out of that grip and you're basically stuck in the midfield. So as you said, Emerson, very critically, it's important to go out there and try to get the job done. Yeah, very simply, of the intermediate tracks, this is going to be one that is going to be relatively difficult to make that overtake happen. And as I say that, we're starting to roll into the qualifying session here. 2 opportunities to try to set the quick time tonight. We already have the likes of Barrick Uphold near the top of the board. Of course, a long way to go. Still 3.5 minutes for drivers to go out there and try to get the job done here in No Limits, Texas.
Yes, sir. No Limits, Texas. That is what Eddie Gossage is proudly calling the area around the speedway. And how about Barrick Uphold, the Texan himself, alongside myself? It's proud to see a Texan up there until his time has been beaten. He's dropping down the running order. Taylor Butcher Benjamin goes top of the charts. He set a 28.5. That is 28 1,000ths faster than Colin Stone. What a margin he's got over the rest of the field at the moment.
And not too far off some of the pace that we were seeing in practice, and that's with the opportunity for drivers to acquire a little bit of a draft or slipstream on the straightaways. We're only seeing times about 1 or 2 tenths down from what we saw the best in practice. So yeah, relatively close so far. And and if you're looking at that margin between the top 2, there is not a lot to separate right now. In fact, the top 8 cars within 1/10 of a second here. So despite how difficult turns 1 and 2 and be, it can be a place where a driver can gain or lose a lot of time. Still seeing a relatively tight front of the field here so far, about halfway through the qualifying session. We now look at Holden McGill. Of course, he comes in tonight as your points leader, representing a pretty solid 37-point gap coming in here about halfway through the regular season. And now setting that purple lap time, it's Logan Hamilton, 0.04 of a second.
Wow. It was so tight between Benjamin and Musatti, and now Yeah, 4/100ths. That is a large margin. Holden McGill clocks in 6th. We still have Merrick Watchhorn, again, the second highest driver in points with a win this season. Roger Shelton, Lauren McFadden, and Roy Grande setting times. Merrick Watchhorn goes second quickest. He'll be 36 1/1000ths off of Logan Hamilton with 90 seconds remaining in the qualifying session. Roy Grande to the start-finish line. This will be the completion of his first timed lap. 80 seconds now. He ticks over and he goes 22nd quickest after lap 1. Now about the second lap, we'll watch and wait.
Unsure if this is a track where we're going to see guys try to strategize for a better lap 2 as opposed to a lap 1. It's a little bit hard to say, but I think we'll get a bit of an idea here for Grande. Grande, of course, isn't necessarily a driver who always pulls near the front of the field, but I think we'll get a decent idea here, see if he can pull away with a mid-pack time coming across the start-finish line for his second lap.
21st.
We will see an improvement. That'll put him 21st on the board, and now we're seeing someone representing our colors who is relatively consistent. I would have to say that's Joseph, of course.
And again, you'll see a lot of drivers running Pit Stop TV colors, Whiplash Media colors, and logos, and some of our partners' logos and colors. And this is a deal that Andrew's had the entire month of April. But he's giving out money. He's basically the Marcus Lemonis of L-TAC. He said himself a couple weeks ago. He is giving $5 away for every stage winner, $5 away for every race winner. But if you win both stages and the race, you get $20. So a chance for $80 this month if you're able to do it. Jack B. Ryan, he swept, but he was not running Pit Stop TV colors. Joseph went 11th quickest as qualifying ticks over, and we get ready to get to the grid with, of course, Logan Hamilton being our pole sitter. What a great quality run. We'll see if they can tighten up the start. Last week, if you weren't here, New Hampshire had a little bit of a screwy start. 5 drivers made the initial grid. There was a mistake with, I guess, the lobby settings, and there was only 10 seconds for drivers to grid. So a lot of drivers missed the grid. They then had to, throw a caution as the race went green, and it was all over the place. At this point, it's already been past 10 seconds, and the race director is going through his pre-race spiel. So we'll go through the starting lineup. Row number 1, Logan Hamilton, Merrick Watchhorn. Row 2, we're going to find Taylor Butcher Benjamin and Anthony Musatti winning at Pocono a couple weeks ago. Row number 3, Jeremy Berger, Colin Stone, an impressive 6th place qualifying run. He's there 11th in points, looking to move his way even forward, get himself out of the danger zone of the playoff bubble. Row number 4, Holden McGill, point leader and winningest driver on the season thus far, Jack B. Ryan, with 3 wins. He'll start 8th. Row number 5, we'll find Brett Fisher and Barrick Upholtre.
Joseph comes into tonight without a victory. Still runner-up in the point standings, and he's in a pretty comfortable 11th place to start out the evening. He'll be accompanied by the part-timer Cole Freilich in the 12th position. Row 7 will consist of Roger Shelton and Bradley Waters in the 14th position. Cody Meadows, who I saw win in the QuickTime Sprint Car Series just a couple nights ago at the Virtual USA International Speedway, he'll be in the 15th position, accompanied by Stefan Purcell in 16th. We'll have another part-time driver in Noah Carmichael in the 17th position, joined by Ryder Schrauf in 18th. And rounding out your top 20 cars, it's going to be Grant Peterson and Frank Flores in the 20th spot.
Towards the back side of the grid now, Lauren McFadden will start 21st, Roy Grande 22nd. They make up row 11. Row number 12, we're going to find Robert Pattengale, Richard Springer. Row number 13, we're going to find Kyle Green and Nate Brooker, and I believe that is... No, we still have more. Kevin Frank, Sean Deal will make up row number 14. An increased grid size from last week, it will be stopping at 28 cars.
And I think we picked up a couple drivers who, if you will, brought in their virtual haulers in the last couple of minutes, and by all means, I think we'll take more drivers. Texas is the speedway which, by all means, has the space to host a massive field. We see it work pretty effectively in real life, so why not? Intermediate tracks are designed for this. Should be a lot of fun at Texas. Only about, a mile to go of pacing, and we'll be ready to set these 28 cars loose.
Absolutely. Taking a look at the weather tonight before we get into the racing action. 72 degrees, 70 degrees the air temp, 73 degrees the track temp. It's sunset, I believe. We're going into nighttime, boys. Man, oh man, I've missed the Texas Motor Speedway race going into nighttime. Am I so glad to see it at least happen virtually. Winds coming out of the south at 10.5 miles per hour. Of course, we're located in Fort Worth, Texas. I could be picky and say it's technically located on the outskirts of Fort Worth. It, I guess, ticks over to Justin, Texas, but we'll call it Fort Worth. That's what it says on the walls anyway. As the field will come through turns 3 and 4, 14 rows deep, double wide, VIRacing.com. Safety car will peel off to the left side here and find the safety of pit lane. The field in the hands of Logan Hamilton. We are green from Texas. Coming off of turn number 4, Logan Hamilton leads us around to the start-finish line. He will lead lap number 1. Logan Hamilton in desperate need of a win here this L-TAC season. He's done everything right, but not able to seal the deal. Merrick Watchorn has solidly found his way in the second. Taylor Butcher Benjamin holds station in third, but let's take a look at this mess back here in this field. We got, how about Roger Shelton duking it out behind Brett Fisher. Fisher going at it with Jeremy Berger and Colin Stone. Again, a bunch of these drivers on the bubble back here. 10th, 11th, and I believe 13th in points going at it for the 7th position.
And this is the point of the race where you really just want to make sure that you keep a calm and reasonable head, because ultimately, wow, that was incredibly close between Berger and Shelton through the middle of the corner. Fortunately, both drivers will get away from that scot-free. But yeah, that's just a case in point right there. Early in the race, as a driver, you're thinking this is a perfect time to try to make up maybe some lost track position that you might have missed out on by a poor qualifying run, or maybe not even setting a quick time. But that also means it's a time where you could be very vulnerable as a driver to making a mistake that could take you out of the race very early.
Absolutely, you got to keep these cars clean, and especially at a mile and a half like this, Texas Motor Speedway, pretty much once you get on the gas to make the exit of turn 2, you're on the throttle the entire time. This is a high-speed track. You really need your car to be working and performing at peak aerodynamic performance to really have a say in this race.
Nope, that's the name of the game. And, you know, if you watch Cup racing in real life, or if you're a fan of watching virtual leagues such as the L-TAC Cup Series, I'm sure you're more than used to it at this point in time. It's a lot of fun as a spectator, and we are so far being treated to a relatively competitive show, I would have to say, considering the fact that laps in, top 5 are within a second of each other, and we see Watchorn pressuring and forcing defense from the 12th Logan Hamilton, already coming to the completion of lap 5 here at Texas.
All over the back bumper is Merrick Watchorn working his way to the outside of Logan Hamilton into turn 1. Can he get to the outside? He will file back in line in turns 1 and 2. Blinking there is Anthony Musatti. We're gonna have to get used to that. He was blinking as well to his win at Pocono. It did not affect anybody else, but it was definitely noticeable. And as a broadcaster and as somebody watching the race, you just kind of have to, you tense up when you see a driver blink that much. You don't know if they're gonna stay in the session. If you're a driver, you don't know where they're gonna be.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate all around. It's based off my personal experiences. Sometimes there's no indication on your end that you're having any connection issues, so then it can make it so much more of a troubling issue, especially when you're not even sure if it's, you know, something that's prevalent for yourself or other drivers. But regardless, to pick up that victory is going to be a massive burst of momentum, especially considering the fact he enters tonight 13th place in the point standings, and the more he can ride off of that momentum, the better for the likes of Anthony Musatti. So we head into turn 1, and I have to say, Watchorn probably stressing the tires quite a bit with some of the dramatic adjustments he's having to make to his line, but he's definitely keeping Logan Hamilton, our race leader, on his toes.
Absolutely. I think we're getting to the point here, this is kind of where you're going to have to run. You're going to just have to ride here, save the tires, see how long of a run we're going to get. Man, I love this camera, by the way. This camera in the infield that comes all the way down to start finish. This is a great, great camera made by Andrew Cardinale at Whiplash Media, of course, also the owner of Pit Stop TV himself. Real quick, if you want to get these cameras and others, make sure you check out whiplash-media.com. Down the back straightaway. It's still a 2-man show up front, but it is getting dicey in the middle of the field back here with Jeremy Berger falling back behind Brett Fisher now. Roger Shelton working their way off of turn number 4 now. I think Berger's kind of dropping back after, remember he made slight contact with Roger Shelton in the turn 1 a few laps ago. Sent him way up the track. He had to check up big time.
And despite that, both drivers are still trucking along. In fact, I wanted to say, when we checked in a little bit earlier, they were just a little bit outside the top 10, and now they both respectively make up the last 2 spots within the top 10. And they're both drivers that are fully capable of going out there and getting the job done. So yeah, I wouldn't expect anything less from these guys. They're just, after that incident, doing a fairly effective job of settling into the running. And in fact, they're starting to apply quite a bit of pressure onto the car of Brett Fisher ahead of him.
Yeah, Brett Fisher actually giving way to Jeremy Berger. Berger sliding up the track though, but so is Brett Fisher. Berger and Fisher nearly coming together 3 wide down the back.
Still 3 wide dead heat, and as you said, Emerson, this is the place where you could be relatively flat out. Near contact between Berger and that is the 30 car of Fisher. Everyone's going to get away scot-free. The big loser, of course, going to be Berger because he's now under quite a bit of pressure from Barrick Uphold.
How about Barrick Uphold into the wall. I was just about to say, how about the Texan trying to make his way into the top 10? He's still there in 11th, but man, that is a momentum. That's a momentum buster, if anything, man. When you catch the wall after getting a big run, Freilich, big run on Uphold, almost getting it. He got the wall into 3 and almost getting into Joseph. Joseph now, both Joseph and Freilich working their way past Barrick Uphold.
As we come through the quad oval and the start-finish line here at Texas Motor Speedway, you can see a couple edges of tires through the grass there. Some drivers looking to take an alternative shortcut. And we've seen that not work well for drivers in real life, but it's been quite effective tonight to some degree, it looks like. But yeah, how about Colt Freilich starting to make his way through the field? I want to say he's starting near the back end of the top 20, and already he's pouncing on those last couple of spots within the top 10. Has to get ahead of some pretty competent drivers, though, here in the L-TAC Cup Series. Coming to the completion of lap 13 already.
Absolutely, and that kind of goes for any series, as it got really tied up here once again. It looks like Watchorn had to back off once again. I think Watchorn may be using up his stuff trying to find a way around Logan Hamilton. Logan Hamilton may be doing what was done to him last week. Jack B. Ryan not pushing as hard as, Look, Jack B. Ryan definitely had the speed to push harder than he did most of that race at New Hampshire. But he did it in an effort to keep Hamilton there and make Hamilton maybe use up his stuff, which did happen in the stages. You saw then, that long green flag run at New Hampshire. It was both of them kind of duking it out. Hamilton looked like something clicked and he kind of stuck with Jack B. Ryan. But when we got those late race restarts, normally we saw Hamilton stick with Jack B. Ryan on every other restart, but those late race restarts, Jack B. Ryan drove away. Jack B. Ryan was definitely holding something back, and that could be what's Logan Hamilton doing this week. After learning and seeing that happen last week at New Hampshire, I think he's just kind of learning as he goes, learning from his competitors, knowing that he has a car capable of winning. He has the driver capable of winning. He just needs to put 1 and 1 together.
Yeah, he's in that position where if you figure out how to properly defend as the race leader, it can feel like you just have purely unlimited power. Oftentimes, it's just very minute movements that could keep your competitors behind you from trying to attempt any aggressive maneuvers. It could be something as slightly adjusting your line to compromise your entry a little bit, taking a slightly shallower arc into the entry of the corner, and as long as you can make it pay off of the exit of the corner, you still come away with a race lead. And it can make your competitor behind you try to use up their equipment a little bit more, use up their virtual Goodyear Eagles a little bit to try to make that overtake happen. Because I think they know, especially with this package, that you're in a position where your tires are going to wear out a bit quicker than the leader. So the sooner you make that move, if you can, the better. You got to backtrack a little bit. Seems like Musadi is starting to drop off a little bit. He's currently representing that last spot within the top 10.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what happened because we had Musadi towards the top 10. Towards the podium. He was up there at 4th, I believe, behind Taylor Butcher Benjamin, and he's now back here in 11th now as Brett Fisher goes by. So maybe Musadi, one of those drivers, using up their stuff a little too soon.
And of course, you never want to be in a position where you're losing positions on the racetrack, of course, but early in the race gives you the most opportunity to be able to make up spots. So in the least, if he's figured out, maybe some way that he's applying the throttle through the corner is eating up his equipment, or how aggressive he is with wheel inputs, he can correct that on the next set of Goodyear Eagles.
Woo, look at this pack back here. Barrick Uphold getting overtaken by Noah Carmichael and Frank Flores. And here comes the 59 of Bradley Walters. Barrick Uphold, after he caught the wall, you can see this visually having an effect on his race. He went from 11th back to 17th right about now, and potentially 18th as Richard Springer gets the run.
Yeah, and Springer is doing, it looked for a moment as if he was going to get quite the run off the corner. Not quite exactly when he needed to get back up the uphold, but still a very effective job. Side by side into the entry of the corner right now in 3 and 4. But as you said, that damage can be very critical, especially with the Modern Cup Series package. Fortunately for Uphold, we do have a couple of stages. In fact, we come to the completion of lap 21 the next time by. That'll be halfway through stage 1. So at the end of that, we'll get a caution. He'll be able to take the optional repairs on his car. It might not take care of everything. He still might have some aerodynamic deficiency, but he'll be able to compensate for some of the issues he's having right now.
Absolutely. Once you get the wall in one of these NASCAR Cup Series cars, it's never the same. It really is not until you get fast repair, which these drivers have one fast repair, but I would not use it if you just caught the wall once as well. You want to save that because you're going to bunch everybody up, and the potential for a big accident on a restart, is there every time you bunch the whole field back up. I mean, there's 28 cars. This is one of the largest fields in a couple weeks now. So you got to think, that many cars in one cramped place, you want to save that fast repair. But I mean, you're never going to be perfect until you use that fast repair. So it's kind of, what are the pros and cons of trying to repair that damage at this point of the race?
Yeah, and that's why I would say I'm definitely a fan of incorporating a fast repair. You don't want to necessarily encourage drivers to drive recklessly, but it can incorporate a little bit of strategy like you're seeing here. It gives these drivers, if you will, a get-out-of-jail-free card, but it's something that they have to be incredibly strategic with. Because as we're seeing that early contact, sure, you could take the fast repair on the next caution flag if you are the likes of, in this case, Barrick Uphold, but then you've already utilized that card, and we're not even a quarter of way into the race. So it could be very damaging, and very likely you could, despite that fast repair, end up out of the race due to critical damage.
Absolutely. And you're going to feel it once you catch that wall. Like I said, I've done a lot of NIS this season and last season. This car is never the same once you catch that wall, just because of how aerodynamic they are. And these cars with their lower horsepower, it's kind of all aerodynamics at this point. I know that they look like, just big bricks on wheels, but the aerodynamics of a NASCAR Cup car are, it's really technical how the air kind of, gets cut with these cars' bodies. And again, any alteration to that is automatically a lot of drag on your right front, or I'm assuming you hit the right front of your car with the wall.
Yep, it's just the name of the game. The drivers know that they have to play with these set of rules when they enter these competitions. It's not the only stock car where you'll see this come into play either. And there's a lot of pros and cons to it. It can create some really tight and competitive action, but as a race car driver, you also know that I think you almost have to take extra care of your equipment.
Absolutely. The more and more league races I do, especially ones that have green flag runs, you really learn. I've really learned, in those league races, just really backing it off, really worrying about where that car is positioned by corner exit, and keeping my tires under me. Because if I keep my tires under me, I'm already passing like 5 or 6 cars by the time we get 40 laps into that green flag run. So I mean, it's all about saving your equipment in these races that seemingly looks like it's going to go green for a while.
Oh yeah. And speaking of saving equipment, it looks like some guys think they've done a fair enough job of saving their tires. We have a couple guys down on the pit lane. The first wave consisted of the likes of Kyle Green and Stefan Purcell, both guys that were driving in the mid-pack. Oh, actually, now we're going to see guys that were near the back end of the top 10. Colin Stone, and that was Jeremy Berger. So, yeah, we're already under about 15 to go here in the first stage, and I think that's opening the door for guys to say, hey, I think that at this point in time we can come down pit road. There isn't a lot of risk of a caution flag. Let's come down, slap on 4 tires, fill it up with the virtual Sunoco fuel, get back out there for a sprint to the end.
I didn't even think about that. I forgot these drivers run 50% fuel loads. The series runs 50% fuel loads, which you can go about 55, 60 laps on a full tank of fuel here at Texas in a Cup car. 50% fuel loads, you go about 27 to 30, and that's where these drivers are pitting right now. This is race leader Logan Hamilton having to work his way to the inside of Noah Carmichael into the box. Don't slide on Merrick Watchhorn is taking over the race lead, by the way. And he's coming in now. Taylor Butcher Benjamin stays out.
No, as you said, Emerson, though, it backs up what we knew coming in tonight about how long a full fuel run is, about 55 or 60 laps. Means a lot of these guys that are still out on the racetrack are pushing their fuel tanks all the way to the limit, running basically on fumes at this point in time if you're the likes of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. In fact, I think he's the only driver yet to come down to the pit lane. So a very impressive job of being able to stress the fuel, especially in a car where it can be difficult to figure out how on the racetrack you can actually effectively fuel save, rather. So yeah, he comes down to the pit lane, and now we get the chance to see if undercuts or overcuts are going to work here. Slides those tires coming in a little bit hot. It looked like it was under speed, though, I'd have to say.
He did get under speed. He actually dropped down to 44, and I believe pit speed at Texas on iRacing is 50 instead of 45 as it is in real, or I believe pace speeds. I don't know, but on time and scoring, he was under 50 miles per hour, which I'm assuming is the pit speed he's aiming for. Into the box of Taylor Butcher Benjamin, we will see Merrick Watchhorn, the new race leader, over Logan Hamilton. But around the outside, Logan Hamilton, and caution on the speedway.
Oh, this becomes really fun between those two. Oh, Nate Brooker. Unfortunately, I'd have to say he might have gotten to the outside wall. A little hard to see if he has any critical contact, though. Of course, he might have been one of those drivers. I think we've seen it in real life before, where there's just so much excess room there that you might have enough opportunity to go for a spin and not get into that outside wall.
Well, let's find out exactly what did happen with our Pit Stop TV replay. There we go. It lagged a little bit there, but we'll get the replay. Meant to back it up in that time span, but here's Nate Brooker in the aftermath of what had happened. Let's get another one queued up for you.
I want to say off of that initial replay, looks like we did get contact, unfortunately, for Nate Brooker. Our lone representative in the series from the British Isles, as always, have to respect him for staying up late here on a Friday night, if you will, a Saturday morning. Shows that he loves these stock cars, and we'll finally get the opportunity to backtrack a little bit. It's going to be contact there from, that's Roger Shelton.
Oh my goodness.
And it's not going to be damage to the engine area of the vehicle, but it's probably still going to be contact that I think, as a race car driver, you're going to that fast repair.
Yeah, that's huge. And I want to see what was maybe going on there with Roger Shelton. Maybe did Nate Brooker stay out or something? We'll see here in the closing race. This might be a little late. Trying to get to the inside of Nate Brooker, and there wasn't really space. Not too sure.
At this point of the race, I would probably say that's a little bit aggressive, especially with how much opportunity there could have been to the outside of the racetrack. Yeah, just chalk it up probably as a racing incident. This time we'll get the opportunity to ride with the primary victim of the incident, Nate Brooker.
You see Nate Brooker trying to fight for that inside, trying to get that late arc, and just, in his eyes, just got ran over.
All I can say, again, just very unfortunate. And it can be a product of just being a little bit too aggressive a bit early into the race. It'll happen from time to time, though. As a stock car driver, you're going to want to take risks from time to time. The nature of this racing encourages it.
So let's talk about what this does now. Is the caution came out while Taylor Butcher Benjamin was receiving service. So look who's the race leader. Taylor Butcher Benjamin. He leads Merrick Watchhorn, who was duking it out with Logan Hamilton for what was going to be the theoretical lead or the actual lead, depending on where they merged with Taylor Butcher Benjamin. That battle, I mean, now it really what that battle did was set up who was going to restart in what lane. And now Logan Hamilton, who started on pole, is going to be starting behind a driver. He's going to be in some traffic for the first time today. This is a lot of interesting scenarios playing out right here.
Yeah, that's a massive win for the one of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. It cannot be said enough for that driver. And sometimes that's the benefits of being able to employ an overcutting strategy of trying to stretch your fuel tank as far as possible. This time he'll come out as a winner. Other times it just won't happen. That's the fun and the unpredictability of racing, of course. But that's a very, very good point you bring up about Hamilton, Emerson. As we see in real life sometimes, there will be drivers who will start on pole with these 550 horsepower package here on these types of racetracks, we won't truly see what their car does in traffic until you get a caution flag that mixes up the field a little bit, and then all of a sudden, without that clean air available, cars just flounder and fall through the field. Now, of course, I believe in this series, these guys are on fixed setup, so won't necessarily see that issue in terms of the setup. It might be, will the drivers succumb to pressure being in the field?
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait and find out here, but we're waiting here. We are on the 1 to green here. I was gonna say if we're on 2 to green, we'll get some partner Reeds and Taylor Butcher Benjamin's getting waved around the pace car. What's happening here?
Very interesting, and he's not the only car on the lead lap to be doing so. We see Merrick Watchford also accompanying him. We are going to see an additional waving of the caution flag, it looks like, I think. Yeah, so the lights are still on the pace car. Looks like there might have been a little bit of glitch in the iRacing side of things, potentially, or maybe drivers having some difficulties interpreting some of the instructions being issued by iRacing race control. But the entire field is going to get that opportunity to get back by. And we'll, re-rack them and restack them very simply.
Absolutely. This is very similar to what happened last week at the start of New Hampshire. I really feel for these race controllers, man. First they have a miscue on the grid last week. It's only a 10-second grid. They missed like 19 drivers from the grid of the race. So they have to figure how to, reset that one, and now they get a caution during green flag pit stops here at Texas. I feel really bad for the race controllers. I know how it feels to get a caution during pit cycle. It is tough.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Emerson. Whether it be logistically setting up schedules, Discord servers, trying to incorporate a broadcast partner, series partners to be able to support, prizes or points funds for the series. It just takes a lot as a series organizer, and then to have these kinds of headaches result in sessions, it can be incredibly frustrating. As you said, just a lot of credit to anyone, especially the guys here at L-TAC Cup Series, for putting on what's a pretty fun show on Friday nights with the NASCAR Cup Series stock cars. It looks like we are starting to get the opportunity to reset. It is going to be single file on this go-around, though.
It is? I was going to say, they're single file with the lights out on the pace car, and they're adding a caution lap here.
This is a very intriguing element that we normally don't get to see in stock car racing nowadays, quite frankly. We did see it in real life at the Bristol Dirt Race, of course. Oh, actually, we are going to see a doubling up here, rather, as we do get this opportunity for the drivers to manually do that, I would believe, at this point in time.
Right. So apparently there was some sort of glitch or mistake in the iRacing caution system. I don't know, maybe if this was in the setup of the lobby or just ill-advised timing of caution, or I don't know what the case is, but we're being told this is, on iRacing's end, why they're not able to properly double file for the restart, so they're going to just manually, double everybody up, and if there's penalties, I would assume they would just clear the penalties for all these drivers. But we're starting to get into the point where this is going to affect the race for the stage win and stage points.
Yeah, with every lap that goes by, it's just making it more and more of a pure all-out sprint. Say you're a fan of, the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series. I think we're seeing something similar to the Fast Pass Dash in this point in time, because it's just going to be a race of about 5 or 6 laps. Do everything you can to just push and go all out. The only thing, though, is, as a race car driver, at least for tonight's scenario, is the fact that if you push the tires too much, you don't have a lot of excess tires in the reserve tonight. You only had 4 additional tire sets. So if you push your tires too much, you might not have a lot to restart the second stage on.
Yeah, so I can't imagine, the front runners using a set of tires, or, depending on who they are. Maybe Taylor Butcher Benjamin, he has yet to use those tires. So this is going to be like the first time he's going up to race pace with his tires. And he's probably not going to pit, on the stage 2 yellow, which, they're going to have to pit in the middle of stage 2 anyway, even if they did pit. So might as well pit in stage 2, get your fresh set of tires there, and then you're left with 2 sets of tires for that final stage. You're probably going to take tires at the stage break, which you're going to be left with 1 set of tires for 83 laps. It's going to be rough.
Nope, that's why normally the name of the game of these types of races is just to conserve the tires as much as possible. as we get ready to roll here, I look at how long the pit stops were the last go-around, and it looks like within the top 10 or 12 cars, only one driver took 4 tires, and it was Cole Freilich. So this could be a lot of fun for the driver of that 15 car.
The iRacing.com safety car in the safety pit lane. We are back to racing, and Merrick Watchorn gets down to the bottom before the start-finish line. I don't know if L-TAC's going to enforce a penalty on that. I know some series do follow the real NASCAR rule. Other series just go with iRacing restart rules. But Merrick Watchorn was able to get clear into line, be in front of Logan Hamilton, and here we go for the stage victory. Everybody kind of jumping up, accordioning up into turn 3, but Taylor Butcher Benjamin on the freshest tires. Here comes Merrick Watchorn, though.
Coming to the completion of our first lap following that caution flag. We're side by side for the lead, and it's going to be Watchorn for what I believe is the first time today formally taking the race lead. Taylor Butcher Benjamin in that outside line, not the place you want to be. We come down the back straightaway. It's going to be side by side for the second spot, and that's going to give the leader, Merrick Watchorn, quite the opportunity to pull.
Merrick Watchorn is cleared to the race lead. Logan Hamilton's keep holding station in third. Joseph in the fourth, and how about Holden McGill and Jack B. Ryan going at it for sixth? We are here with 4 laps to go in the stage, and it's an all-out duel back here. Freilich around the outside of Colin Stone and Jack B. Ryan and Holden McGill.
Very interesting move by Cole Freilich to take those 4 tires.
3 wide.
We're 3 wide of the entry of the corner, and that's for the podium spot here in the stage. But Cole Freilich comes into tonight not as a full-time driver. He's someone that comes in as a part-time driver. So you wouldn't think he'd necessarily be racing for points, but this is almost a strategy to try to come away and steal some stage points.
Woo!
Oh, that was a
Caution.
incredibly narrow clear of Hamilton. We are going to get this caution flag, and I think this is formally going to end your first stage.
Merrick Watchorn leading at the time of caution, and it is Noah Carmichael going around on the front straightaway. Wow.
And for the Floridian, so unfortunate because he's another driver who comes in, tries to show up and just push and try to go for the race wins. And that's going to be a big hamper. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of damage on the car. We'll just have to see what was the cause of this incident. We'll backtrack a little bit and see what the full origin of this incident was. Currently see him battling in mid with the likes of Barrick Uphold.
And he's back here behind Anthony Musatti to the outside of Barrick Uphold, ahead of Bradley Walters and the 76 Kyle Green here coming off of turn number 4. Still to the outside of Barrick Uphold. Uphold comes up, and here's just a little miscommunication. Collects Kyle Green. Noah Carmichael back across traffic. We'll keep it down on the bottom of the track, but we get another view of it. I don't know if there was contact between himself and Barrick Uphold. We will see.
I think the one thing we can say for Carmichael, very smart move to be able to lock the brakes. It made things a bit more predictable. His car still did start to edge up into the racing line a little bit, but enough time had passed from the flying of the caution flag, and he was starting to lock the brakes up and make himself predictable. And it made it a lot safer for all of his competitors out there. So yeah, we'll see. It was just all around. It was a very awkward position on the racetrack because that's around the time where the car sets after its cornering load. And yeah, from above, it looks like I don't think there was contact between the two. He just might have reacted to a move made by Uphold.
I was gonna say that looked like a reaction to maybe keep his sights down the down the straightaway, down the quad oval, so he's able to see kind of where he's going.
Yep, and it's something I said a little bit earlier. Now, if you're Carmichael, you're in a very sketchy position as a race car driver with that allotment of one fast repair, just because at this point of the race, maybe you're in a position where you're thinking, we might get more caution flags. It might be wiser for me to race around with this, beaten race car, which is off the pace a little bit, hope for that caution flag, or maybe take it at the end of stage 2 and just persevere until now. Or he might go for it now and get involved in an incident in the mid stages of the race.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, but what we won't have to wait and see is who the stage winner is. It is official. Merrick Watchorn is our stage 1 victory. And we're going to try to bring him on up here. And we'll get a stage interview here. Trey, if you'd be so kind to interview our stage winner here.
Merrick, thank you for joining us in the booth. First driver we get to speak to tonight. Just initially coming away from that stage one victory, what are the emotions being able to walk away with those 10 bonus points?
And it feels good, kind of showing our stuff early on, but now it's just time to get the grind going and try to stay up front and try to stay out of trouble.
That's a good point. Having the first opportunity to be able to restart the race from that first position because you were having to tail Logan Hamilton in the early race. What was your strategy from the drop the green flag, knowing that you were in a position of, if you will, almost being the predator to the prey of the leader?
That later as the run went, that we had to get in front of him during the pit stop strategy. So I had to make sure I stayed relatively ahead of him and maybe get better off pit road, which I did. And we were going to race it out between the two of us, and I think I would have been the victor in that regardless because I was on his inside. But the caution to come out, I think we just went down to just the two of us because Taylor got lucky there. But hey, I mean, it's one of those ordeals, and we just got to keep focused and get this 91 team and try to get our second win tonight, really.
Yeah, that's a good point, Merrick. I think based off of the small sample size we have so far just the stage, you two are definitely proving to have pretty solid pace so far. Going forward, how are you looking in terms of tire allotment and mental headspace, if you will?
Save.
Hey, that's fair enough. Otherwise, anyone you want to thank so far for your stage victory?
I want to thank my sponsors, Twiggy. Words are not coming to me right now. Trying to complete blank. Just want to thank all my sponsors, my friendly friends, and all the, for y'all to definitely hosting and, watching us and showing us the broadcast and the love we all deserve. So we're going this time by, so I'll let y'all go and hopefully we can get this going.
Yep, all good, Merrick. Thanks for joining us. And of course, you're still in that mindset as a race car driver. So just good luck to you. Keep pushing. So there you have it, Merrick Watchhorn. That's our first driver that we get to speak to tonight. And I'd have to say he does seem relatively confident so far.
Absolutely, he does. And he has reason to be. He's just gone up there and commanded. I know he was behind Logan Hamilton to start. And, to be fair, he really demonstrated just how difficult it is to overtake here. But he looked faster than Logan Hamilton, even being second. And then pretty much went up and passed them, on the end of that pit cycle before the caution came out. And then when that caution came out, forced his way in front of Logan Hamilton and then forced his way by Taylor Butcher Benjamin. But here we go for the Stage 2 restart. It'll be Cole Freilich and Roger Shelton making up row number 1. Cole Freilich, he looks like he shot out of a cannon on that final stint right there. So we'll see if he can pull out to a little bit of a lead here. Now, you don't want to use up yourself too much, or you'll be caught by the drivers who just pitted for Fresh Tires. But the iRacing.com safety car will find the safety of pit lane, the field, in the hands of the 15 of Cole Freilich. And we are back to racing from Texas. Logan Hamilton forcing his way to the inside of Roger Shelton as the field works their way through turn number 4. Here comes Merrick Watchhorn trying to fight his way by Cole Freilich. Cole Freilich won't even be able to lead a green flag lap because Merrick Watchhorn was not having any of it. Joseph working his way up to the inside of Cole Freilich now to try to get to second. Logan Hamilton in dire need of getting around his 15 of Cole Freilich and getting up to Joseph if he's going to have anything for Merrick Watchhorn. Logan Hamilton does not want to be leading laps and see another race win slip out of his hands.
And Hamilton shot out of a cannon on that restart, coming off of turns 1 and 2 on the initial restart. Saw him in the middle of 3 wide action, and then already up into the top 5. In fact, he's currently rounding out the podium. So if I'd have to say, he's probably making the best use of New Goodyear Eagle, currently running that 3rd position as the floodlights begin to come into full effect here. Under the dusk here in the virtual Texas Motor Speedway, we have quite the show in our hands here in the second stage. Merrick Watchhorn continued to lead, but a lot of hungry drivers right behind him.
Absolutely. I wish NASCAR would continue running at sunset and nighttime here at Texas Motor Speedway. Not just because it's my home track, but it just looks pretty with those blue walls. And I know the repaved track, the light's gonna look just better on a fresher asphalt surface. So I'm all for this time of day, and I love what the series organizers chose for this race.
I do believe we'll see that come into effect for the All-Star race this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, right. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it to that, but man, that's going to be quite the spectacle to watch, at least on TV. Going at it here for second still is Logan Hamilton and Joseph way up the track is Cole Freilich. After he shot out of a cannon on that last restart, prior, he is dropping back. He's going to have to go back and reload the cannon for the next restart because he is going backwards.
And Freilich, if you compare him to a lot of his competitors, he's on tires that are about 10 or 15 laps older than the rest of his competitors, a lot of which pitted for 4 tires under that stage caution flag. So Freilich is just going to have to cope with the negative results of staying out on those older tires for the time being. If he gets a timely yellow, though, that could play into his favor here in the second stage. Oh, and that's incredibly aggressive here this early into the race. But it shows that, you know, the incorporation of stages here with stock car racing to make drivers aggressive from the get-go. Still side by side for that second position. Joseph trying to clear the 12. He's going to do it coming through the quad oval, but he will not have a lot of real estate or a lot of comfort. And he's really going to have to sacrifice his entry.
Oh my goodness. Logan Hamilton forced his way to the inside of Joseph into turn 1 last lap. And Joseph was not having any of it. He's shot it down into turn 3. And now Logan Hamilton has to sit back behind the 20 once again. And just watch that blue speck out his windshield get smaller and smaller as it drives away. Logan Hamilton now dives to the inside off of turn number 4 into turn 1. There's not a whole lot of defense. Joseph can do over to turn on the afterburners on that outside lane. Don't come down in front of Taylor Butcher-Benjamin, though. Taylor Butcher-Benjamin trying to find his way back onto the podium to the inside of the 20 of Joseph. Logan Hamilton long clear. Joseph catches the wall. He cuts off Taylor Butcher-Benjamin into the 3. This is some fun stuff. Caution on the speedway. And it's going to be Lauren McFadden. Big crash back straight away.
I look at timing and scoring. I only see one driver still at a complete stop, and that is Lauren McFadden. But it looked like it was a heavy hit, especially when we picked up on that incident. Whew. I can barely breathe after that, Emerson. And you were definitely going on quite the call. That was very impressive so far. Impressive job by the drivers more so than, but no, just a fun show so far.
Absolutely. I was making new oxygen cells in my lungs right there. Got down to back straight. McFadden loose off a 2 and wham into the inside wall. Back across traffic. Oh no, I think that was Carmichael again. I believe it was.
And that might be a driver who's in a position where he already utilizes fast repair. We'll get a little bit of a better picture as we enter the pitting cycle here on this caution flag. Of course, not the place you want to be at any stage of the race, but as you head into the middle stages, you're starting to, if you're a driver like Noah Carmichael, begin to recuperate some of your losses, and that's just going to be a heavy hit.
And we'll see here, you'll see way up the track, like 7 cars up ahead. McFadden's going to just get loose, slam the inside wall, right up the track, and nowhere for Noah to go. That, oh man.
And one incident ago, I believe it was Noah Carmichael, he was able to lock the brakes. We don't quite see the same there. It didn't look like, at least from Noah's perspective, it looked like there was still a lot of momentum behind the number 82 stock car. And unfortunately, McFadden is going to take a heavy hit as a result.
Field comes off the pit lane. Merrick Watchorn, Logan Hamilton, Joseph, TBB, Jack B. Ryan, Holden McGill, Colin Stone, Ryan Springer, Jeremy Berger, Bradley Walters, the top 10. We're going to take this moment to thank some of our partners here at Pit Stop TV. And of course, we have to thank not only the Pit Stop TV partner here, but the L-TAC partner here at Tucson Sound Art. And well, your picture, your music. You provide you provide the image that you want, and we will custom create a beautiful framed high quality canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker. With Sound Art, you get the best of both worlds. Make sure you visit TucsonSoundArt.com for additional info. Use promo code PitStopTV at checkout, and you'll receive 10% off of your purchase. And again, Sound Art at Tucson, they do huge work for us at Pit Stop TV, but also for the L-TAC Cup Series. If you're going to support anyone, please support Tucson Sound Art, but also consider supporting Race Pace. Ever wish you could have a race engineer on speed dial? Well, now you can, thanks to Race Pace, a driver development service and setup shop all in one. Work with Tyler, a real-world race engineer, to step up your game before your next race. Pick up the pace with Race Pace. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy. Now, Permanent Makeup in Cryo, Maine, the owner, Ashley Boyer, is a certified micropigmentation specialist who provides professional, safe, and personalized services. You can contact Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine at permanentmakeupinmaine.com, or you can call or text them at 207-358-8683. And if you're looking for the best solutions for your permanent makeup concerns, give Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine a call today to book a consultation. And of course, I shouted them out a little bit earlier because these are some beautiful cameras Andrew has made here, these statics here at Texas Motor Speedway. I love them, love them, love them, love them. But Pits.tv's new parent organization, Whiplash Media, specializes in various sim racing resources, including paint schemes, stream overlays, iRacing camera packs, and more. Whiplash Media is also working on its presence in real racing, offering services such as photography, social media management, and public relations. Make sure you go to www.whiplash-media.com for more. And now we work our way through an entire pace lap. We're going to get the 1 to green here, and we kind of already went down through the top 10. Most of the top 10 has stayed pretty similar, but I want to say Bradley Walters into 10th. He's been, hanging around, the bottom half of the field and kind of right around, the 15th through 20th range, and he's up here to 10th.
Hey, pretty impressive job so far. Hasn't gotten a lot of screen time tonight. Not necessarily the worst thing in the world. It could mean very well that you're taking care of your equipment. And for this part-timer, if he's able to pull it off tonight, it would be his first top 10 here in the L-TAC Cup Series this season. So he's in a prime position as long as he takes care of his equipment, lets attrition to continue to do its thing, pick up some pace. Top 10 could be incredibly realistic for the driver of the 59. As we get ready to go here, Emerson, I look at timing scoring, do see a couple of recent disconnections from the race. We are down to 24 drivers still on the racetrack. Some drivers that are not in the session, though. Roy Grande in the last position. Then we have 27th Grant Peterson. Lauren McFadden and Cole Freilich will be our latest victims under the last caution flag. Not sure on the cause of Freilich, though, because I don't think he was involved in an accident.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. He was looking pretty sporty on that restart a couple of restarts ago, and then he was just an old tires. I mean, he's not here for points, really. He's just here part-time, so maybe if he felt he couldn't win, just park it. But the iRacing.com safety car in the safety of pit lane, Merrick Watchorn leads us to green at Texas once again. Heavy defense on the back straighter and 4 cars up the inside lane in the turns 3 and 4. Joseph keeping Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Logan Hamilton, and Jack B. Ryan at bay. Jack B. Ryan to the inside of Logan Hamilton now for the 4th position. Logan Hamilton seeing this race slip away from him. Here comes Holden McGill as well.
And for as prevalent as Jack B. Ryan has been in this series so far, as you said a little bit earlier, Emerson, he comes into tonight as a series leader and wins 3 to his name. And he's been in the top 5, top 10 for most of the night. We haven't talked about him a whole lot, and now he's putting on some really impressive moves on the guy who might be the most impressive tonight so far up to this point, Logan Hamilton. Hamilton, despite having to take a very wide actually, as I say that, he does start to lose a little bit of his momentum as we go through the quad oval. Looks like he's going to have to settle into what will be about the 7th position for the time being. Watchorn continues to lead, but he has a fierce group of competitors behind him.
Man, if he's been watching his mirror, he would see how aggressive Joseph is being. He does not want Joseph to get on equal footing with that 91, because it looks like Joseph will do anything to get out in front. Remember, Joseph is 2nd in points, but he doesn't have a win. Him and Logan Hamilton are up there in points, top 3 in points, and they don't have wins this season. They are desperate for wins. They know they have the pace to win. They just haven't been able to.
It could be so frustrating as a race car driver in a couple of different ways, just because there's a part of you that knows, hey, we're points racing. I just need to get into the playoffs. But you ultimately, as a race car driver, your ultimate objective is to go out there and to get the win, to get the job done. And when you have the pace that allows you to do that and you're not able to execute, it can really start to linger with you. And you know the opportunities is there week in, week out. But it just goes to show that his L-TAC Cup Series field is incredibly competitive from top to bottom, I would have to say. starting to get a little bit strung out here, not by much, just a little bit relaxed. And it looks like our closest battle is near the back end of the top 5. It's a pretty impressive job by everyone up there for the time being.
I was gonna say, but before halfway down the back straightaway on that restart, that was a pretty calm start, and then I saw 4 cars nose to tail on the innermost lane of the back straightaway. I was like, oh, so much for a calm start. My goodness. But yeah, we are halfway through the stage. Actually, gonna do the math. Next, at the completion of the next lap, we'll be halfway through the stage here in stage number 2. And Merrick Watchord trying to snag his second stage victory. Well, the second stage victory tonight. Joseph still under attack from Taylor Butcher Benjamin. As we... There we go. It takes over to 64. I was a little worried. I'm like, whoa, how many lap 63s are we going to have? I had another thought tagged onto that. It has since left my mind. But we still watch this battle go on. I was going to say, yeah, the competitiveness of this field. There's like 10 different winners this season. And 3 of the top 5 drivers in points still have yet to win. That is how competitive this field is.
No, I'd have to say that the awesome thing is I look in the point standings, and you go all the way down to the 13th position in the point standings, and you still have guys that in other series 13th place might be just a perennial med packer. But Anthony Musati, Zach Arnold, 12th and 13th in points respectively, they both have a victory. That just goes to show the depth of this field week in and week out. But otherwise, as you were saying, we're about halfway through the stage. You said that a couple laps ago, Emerson. I look at timing and scoring, and I see something really interesting. We're right on the cusp of drivers being able to make it to the end of the stage without an additional stop for fuel and tires.
Yeah, I'm still waiting to see how this all plays out. I mean, this entire race of 4 sets of tires, I feel like that may be one too short. I don't know how it's all going to work out, especially with the way cautions have fallen. But we talked to Merrick Watchorn, you know, save. If you can save those tires, you might be okay. If we get late race cautions, man, nobody's going to have fresh tires.
No, that could be an ultimate concern for these drivers, because it might get to the point in time where there's only so much saving you can do. Yeah, just doing some rough math, though. I believe we have 4 additional tire sets here in the L-TAC Cup Series here at Texas Motor Speedway tonight. We're pitting about every 30 laps. The maximum you can push a tank of, in terms of green flag laps, is about 30 laps, which means you're pitting 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. That's 5 stops. So these drivers, in theory, will have to put their tires onto double stints at least once tonight. That's
crazy. The way that sounds, maybe you'll do this mid-racing and have fresh tires at the end. But if you don't take tires, you know, there at the end, you're gonna have to go 47 laps on tires. You've been taking 30 laps all day. That is just wild to me. If you haven't done that in practice, you're gonna find these tires in some unknown territory to you, at least, you know, this time round, unless you've done a league race at Texas Motor Speedway on this reconfiguration in the recent weeks. But that's crazy. To me, that kind of strategy in a race now, I feel like that might have been done on purpose. That might have been done on purpose. We're gonna say, I don't know if that was done on purpose, but maybe it is. That's gonna be some wild strategy. Maybe you double stint your tires here in the second stage and give yourself fresh tires in that third stage.
This might be around the time to do it. I have to say, though, looking back through the midfield, there was some incredible action. Jack B. Ryan nearly getting into the outside wall off of turn 2 as the battle rages on for the spots near the back end of the top 5. Near contact between those two. That's Musati and Jack B. Ryan. And as Corey Rexford, our social media manager for tonight, reported, an incredible save by Jeremy Berger just a little bit ago as well. So these are all drivers that show to be confident week in and week out. And we're seeing some incredible racing so far tonight.
Bradley Walters into the 9th position if he can clear Jimmy Berger here. What an impressive run from this 59 car. Steadily moving his way forward. And up the track goes Richard Springer, who is also back there. He's moved his way forward as well.
Springer, another driver. It seems like we just continue to utilize the same phrases over and over, but it's because we see the same things happen a lot. We see a lot of guys coming up through the back end of the field and showing that they have a lot of raw pace. And that's just another driver, Richard Springer, that's able to do it so far. Another driver, we talked about him a little bit earlier, and we're looking at him on screen right now. That is the 59 of Bradley Walters. Yet to score a top 10 in his 4 starts so far this season, but he's in a prime position to be able to do it right now. coming up on about halfway through the running here so far. Very quickly coming up on that, in fact. We're under 100 laps to go here, and he's in that 9th position. Sure, about 12 or 13 laps left on the stage. Still a long way to go in the race, but he's doing an impressive job so far through about 72 laps.
Yeah, we've had a couple caution flags, but we're coming up to halfway in a couple laps here. This race is going by at a pretty nice pace here. And was that contact between Masadi and Jack B. Ryan there? It was contact. They're going to really slow it down here. Now Bradley Walters, he wants to move through. He's going to send it to the inside of Jack B. Ryan. Jack B. Ryan says, nah, he's going to block that move. Richard Springer up there to 9th as well. Bradley Walters to 8th. Jack B. Ryan and Anthony Musadi coming together off of turn 2. I don't know if that was Musadi's lag or Jack B. Ryan trying to get a better line on corner exit. That was tight.
At the end of the day, I think we're entertained, so I think we'll take it, whether you're a fan or you're in the broadcast booth. And unfortunately, we are going to see Musadi be a victim of the low horsepower, high downforce package. Loses a couple of positions. Takes a long time for him to garner his momentum back up. For the time being, it's going to give him an opportunity to settle in to what is, it looks to be the 10th position on the racetrack. Still side by side for the 8th position right ahead of him between two drivers who so far tonight have been relative underdogs. They're showing very consistent pace. It is going to be Springer finally edging ahead of Bradley Walters. He'll be in the 8th position. And was that contact with the outside wall for Jack Ryan?
I was watching that. That was, so close. If he did, it might have been a little kiss. But, yeah, Richard Springer with the pace to take 7th. Look at him go. He's going to make contact with Jack B. Ryan. Shove him up, out of the way on the entry to turn 1. And Richard Springer attempting to take over the 7th position by moving the winningest driver this season.
And he does it with clinical precision. And if he can get away from Ryan here in the next couple of corners, he will have massive allotments of clean air. It's about over a second, and in fact, to the 5th place Logan Hamilton. And if he has the pace to do it, he could very easily get into the top 5. Of course, he'll be coming up into the range of one of the series' most effective defending drivers, at least here at Texas Motor Speedway so far tonight, and that was Logan Hamilton. Especially just looking at how effective he was on that first run earlier tonight. Looking forward a little bit, though, we do see Merrick Watchman has a consistent gap. It's been about half a second for a little bit, but that might be enough to get the job done.
Absolutely. Battle back here, Nate Brooker and Cody Meadows. This is for 15th. This is not for stage points. It's just for the battle as it is. Cody Meadows trying to find his way up high, down low, all over the back end of Nate Brooker. Nate Brooker looks like he's just moved forward, though, and he's trying to maybe set himself up. I mean, I don't think there's enough time for him to get stage points this stage, but set himself up for a decent win, or I'm sorry, a decent points day, you know, after the incident he had earlier. He does not take the faster pairs if you see that back end there, unless somebody's drone him in the back end.
Both are very distinct possibilities. Nate Brooker is a driver. It seems like he has a lot of misfortune, so any breaks he can take, he's going, he's going to have to take as a race car driver. And that's just the nature of stock car racing sometimes. You'll have periods in which things just very simply don't seem to go your way. If you believe in luck, if you will, it could, very much be a result of that. It just happens from time to time. Or if you're someone that believes in momentum, just having those consistent incidents, it devalues your morale so much, or it weakens your morale so much. It can make it so hard to go out there and be effective on the racetrack.
Saw Stefan Purcell catch some grass there as the battle between Frank Flores and Brett Fisher gets tight for the 18th position. Up the track goes Brett Fisher. Frank Flores nearly caught grass in the quad oval, and almost down the track is Brett Fisher. Robert Pattengill up to 20 if he wants to take 19.
Pattengill with a fairly impressive move onto the entry to the corner, and Fisher's the driver who's struggling here in the middle of stages of the race. He was up near the top 10 earlier in the running. Keep saying this again, but fortunately we're about only halfway through the race, and there's a lot of time to be able to make up spots. Attrition could very well become a factor here, only halfway through the 250 miles.
Riding on board of the back end of Merrick Watchorn of his 6/10 of a second advantage. 3 laps to go here in stage number 2. Merrick Watchorn over Joseph. This is Merrick Watchorn on his way to try to sweep and try to get $20 out our very own Andrew Cardinale IV, our Marcus Lemonis-esque figure of the L-TAC Cup Series this month and this month only.
And at this point in time, barring any, potential mechanical hardware issues, internet issues, or mistakes as a race car driver, he only has to do about, 4 more sets of corners, and he will very simply be your Stage 2 winner. We talked to him a little bit earlier. A driver beaming with confidence here in the first half of the race, and he's backed it up so far. He's had the track position to work with, but he has fully taken advantage of it tonight. He is a driver, of course, who started the night in the second place. So rather, from the get-go, he's shown that he has pure pace. Should be only 1 lap to go here in the second stage here at Texas Motor Speedway. Believe it or not, already halfway through the running.
Absolutely. I made a mistake there. He has to be running Pit Stop TV or Whiplash colors or one of our partners' colors on that car. He is not running either. But nonetheless, Merrick Watchorn has had a dominant stage here in stage number 2. This has been his. And coming off of turn number 4 to get the second stage victory tonight, Merrick Watchorn wins over Joseph for stage 2, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Holden McGill, Logan Hamilton, Colin Stone, Richard Springer, Jack B. Ryan, Anthony Musadi, and Bradley Walters, the top 10.
And across the board, we have a plethora of stories to tell throughout the top 10. Talked about him a lot, but to see Bradley Walters, who's yet to log a top 10, come away with the top 10 here in the stage, I think bodes well for the second half of the race. You look at Logan Hamilton, he's able to recover. He stormed through the field off of that last restart. Best he can do about 5th, so if I'd have to guess, he probably exhausted the tires on that restart, but I think 5th is still respectable after where he had the restart.
Absolutely. We're going to try to talk to Joseph under this caution period after we get through a round of pit stops, and this is going to be interesting. How many sets of tires are you giving yourself for this? It's going to be about 70... this is going to be up there in the 80s in green flag runs, like maybe 79 laps on the green flag run. Well, from here to the checkers at least, scheduled. It's going to be interesting. Again, if you've taken tires every stop to this point, you're taking tires here, you're going to be out of tires at the end. So we'll see what happens here. Pit stops underway in the stage break here before stage number 3.
And we come down onto the pit lane for this stage break here. All routine so far coming down onto the pit lane. We'll see our first driver, Richard Springer. It shows that he either had an unfortunate qualifying run or maybe he didn't log a qualifying lap tonight. Here on the iRacing.com service, in case you're a bit unfamiliar with how drivers are gridded on the pit lane, it's determined purely by qualifying position for the races. So there could be a lot of reason to go out there as a race car driver and try to set a good time if you want a spot near the front of the pit lane. And coming off the pit lane first, it is going to be Merrick Watchorn. It's going to be Joseph. He finished the stage in second, and it looks pretty consistent among the top 5.
And watching the rest of the race off pit road, and then we will get to talk to our second place finisher in this stage, since we've already talked to a stage victor, Merrick Watchorn. Once this race, we're going to talk to our second place driver, Mr. Joseph, and Trey, if you'd be so kind to talk to our second place finisher at this stage.
Joseph, it's a pleasure to talk to you tonight. It's been a relatively consistent night. What are your feelings about halfway through the race having a car that looks like it has the potential to go out there and pick up a race win?
Yeah, definitely the car has the potential. It's difficult to pass here though, because the dirty air is especially prevalent in turns 1 and 2. You have to search for air here, and it's quite different than most tracks, honestly. But it's going to be first place. You got to get all of the track position you can. So, yeah.
That's a good point you bring up about turns 1 and 2. Just to bounce off of that a little bit, would you say then that 3 and 4 is basically a setup for an overtaking opportunity in turns 1 and 2 the next lap around?
Yeah, 3 and 4 is basically wide open, so you gotta set it up and get the big run and draft to try and set it up for 1 and 2, because that's mainly the only passing lane, unless you get a good runoff too, which is difficult. But yeah, you mostly set up in 3 and 4.
Thank you for the intel, Joseph. And then just one more question before you prepare for the second half of the race. what is the tire allotment looking like at this point in time, and what's your strategy to manage the limited tire allotment?
Well, I think we're gonna have to two-stop it here, so I'm probably just gonna take both tires when we pit.
All right, thank you, Joseph. I'm expecting 1.5 laps before we return to green flag racing. Time for you to get settled in and focus for the next 80 laps or so. Anyone you want to thank out there before you return to racing?
I want to thank you guys. Give me this great scheme. You guys are great in the broadcast. I'm watching right now, always supporting, and yeah, also supporting these drivers. Yeah, this league's very difficult, highly competitive. So, big props for all the competition. We have at the very front, it's always like top 10 guys, really close.
Couldn't agree more, Joseph. Thank you for joining us, and if all goes well, hope to see you a little bit later.
Yes, hopefully.
And that is Joseph, currently running in that second position. That's where he finished the second stage, Emerson, and I think he's in a good position if he's able to take care of his equipment to be a driver who's fully capable of taking the race win tonight. Of course, he does have Merrick Watchhorn ahead of him.
Absolutely. This is the biggest thing. Can he force Merrick Watchhorn to make a mistake, or can something happen to this 91 in the favor of the 20 car to get it done today? I don't know. Or does Joseph turn on the nitrous or something on this restart? This is going to be interesting to watch. This final stage here, stage 3, no more predetermined cautions for the rest of this race. If there's a caution flag between now and the checkers, it is an iRacing caution. There's an apparent reason for the caution, and this is straight up about. It's going to be 78 laps when we go green, and that's 34 laps on fuel. Can you stretch it 34 laps and make it on a one stop? Maybe. If you can make it 31, you have to save 3 laps of fuel, and that's a tall task. I doubt it. Maybe at the end you're going to pit with 6 laps to go. It's going to be an interesting strategy going on here in this final stage. Merrick Watchhorn, Joseph, the iRacing.com safety car into the safety of pit lane, and we are green from Texas. Merrick Watchhorn has opened up a near 2-second advantage over Joseph. And now here's where it gets, holding the gill up to the inside of Taylor Butcher Benjamin and Colin Stone into the top 5, looking to try to take 4th from Taylor Butcher Benjamin.
But just as you say that, he succumbs to pressure from Logan Hamilton. He makes his way to the inside, and now he'll be the last representative of the top 5, coming off at turn 4 this time by. Move Logan Hamilton into the 5th position, and I think he's ready to pounce on the driver ahead of him, and that's Taylor Butcher Benjamin. A lot of pace in Hamilton, especially early into the runs.
Anybody in this top 5 is capable of winning tonight's race, but Merrick Watchhorn has looked so dominant. Not able to pull a margin yet, though, on Joseph, and now holding the gill, adding to the pressure. What's going to transpire here?
We come off at turn 4, and it looks like the separation between the top 3 is going to remain relatively consistent, but of course that is just for the time being. What they've effectively been able to do, though, over the last lap or so, gap a little bit to 4th place Taylor Butcher Benjamin, and then Logan Hamilton, in turn, has fallen off a little bit from 4th place Taylor Butcher Benjamin. So for the time being, I do think we're seeing Joseph beginning to, if you will, set up, and he might have that opportunity on the entry of turn 1.
Right on board at the 20 of Joseph, all over the back end of race leader Merrick Watchhorn. He's going to send it to the inside. Can he keep it down there? Watchhorn drives it in deeper on the entry. He's going to slide on the exit, though. Joseph, can he get the run off of turn number 2? He's going to follow the 91 now, down the back straightaway. He's going to peek to the inside. Can he get down into 3? Watchhorn closes the door. Oh, boy. This is the first, I think, real challenge Merrick Watchhorn has had since the caution came out in stage 1.
And what this aggressive action between the top 2 or 3 cars is doing, it's bringing in the rest of the top 5. Now Taylor, Butcher, Benjamin, Logan Hamilton, you see they're only within a half a second of race leader Merrick Watchorn. We come down the back straightaway, and it's a train for the time being, but I don't think that's going to be the case for long. Not a lot of separation between the top 5 for the top being by any means, Emerson, as we come off of turn 4. And I think this might be yet another opportunity for Joseph.
Coming around off of turn number 4, Joseph is pushing Merrick Watchorn into turn number 1. Watchorn holding station out in front though. And now Holden McGill, he's got the run on Joseph. Now Joseph into defensive mode. He's going to be pushed by Holden McGill into turn 3.
We look from the sky on this battle for the top 5 positions. And in fact, that is going to compromise the 21 of McGill. Your points leader will now have to face the battle from the number 1 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin as we head into the entry of turn 1. Boy, Benjamin will get a little bit of assistance from Logan Hamilton in terms of slipstream from behind, but unfortunately that inside line is just not going to be effective for Butcher Benjamin, and that's going to make him succumb to a little bit of pressure from the car behind him. Logan Hamilton, your pole sitter, very aggressive on the inside line. It is going to force a little bit of a compromise, but Benjamin will be able to walk away from the position for the time being, and now the 3 in front are going to gap yet again.
You can really see just everything happening from this shot above the racetrack here at Texas Motor Speedway. Holden McGill, he really backs off into center of the corner to try to get that run down the back straightaway. Joseph losing a little bit of touch to Merrick Watchorn from potentially using up his stuff to try to fend off Holden McGill. Now as we work lap 98 of 167, we're coming up to the, well, yeah, it is right now, 70 laps to go in this race. And now you can see that is the top 8 there on your screen, all almost equidistant from one another. Now Taylor Butcher Benjamin closes up on Holden McGill for 3rd.
We come down the back straightaway. We're starting to get into the middle stages of this first run here, this first run to a pit cycle, if you will. And I think, as Joseph was telling us, he's starting to succumb to some of the effects of the just absolutely brutal, dirty air that will, become a factor for the race car drivers as their tires begin to wear. And while this high downforce package does provide a lot of slipstream on the straightaways, you get to that corner, the turbulent air is just going to be purely fatal if you're the trailing car, if you're Joseph. And now it looks like he's falling into this position where he's a couple of tenths back from race leader Merrick Watchorn. It's difficult to gain time, difficult to lose time.
It is so difficult here of all places because, again, you really can only gain time in one area of the track. And it's all about how you roll the center of turns 1 and 2. And if Merrick Watchorn has that perfected down to a T, what are you going to do in second?
As a race car driver, I think that's where I say I have to start using my noggin, try to figure out some way to outsmart him on the pit lane, whether that be an undercut or an overcut. And the other thing he does have to take into account, he was talking about it a little bit, these guys are limited on tires. These guys have to make it on at least 2 stops to the end, we think. And some of these guys might only have 1 set of tires, so they might have to go for that double stint. And that's really just not a position you want to be in at this point in time.
Continue to ride on board with Joseph down the back straightaway. And he's losing time. He continues to lose time here to Merrick Watchorn. This is really going to have to come down to a strategy call from Joseph. It's probably going to have to be an undercut. I can't see an overcut working here in Texas, though. It's the fall off actually isn't that bad because of the repave, and you're on throttle for 95% of the lap. So overcut is not out the window either, though.
By no means. I think any driver with certain scenarios could make it work here at Texas Motor Speedway. As you said, the repave is going to play into that potential scenario that a driver might be able to utilize. And as you said, Emerson, I look at timing and scoring, not a massive amount of fall off yet. A lot of the top guys are within a tenth or two of their best time so far. Oh, and actually, as I said that, we get a caution flag. It's Nate Brooker, and things just unfortunately continue to go negatively for the driver from the British Isles.
Man. Need to see it for Nate Brooker, but I think he still has that fast repair. So I don't think he's out of it, but man, oh man. Let's see what happens. Nate Brooker comes off of turn 2. He slams the wall for turn 2. He's going to get into a Robert Pattengill. Wow, we're going to have to back this up a little bit. Oh, Pattengill nearly gets into a Brett Fisher and sliding In the turn 3 is Nate Brooker. That was a long wreck.
And like we've seen a lot tonight, not a whole lot of victims. And I think that's a part of the reason why we still have over 20 cars on the lead lap of our 28 competitors that came onto the entry list or registered for the session tonight, if you will. I'll have to get an update and see if Nate Brooker was able to utilize that fast repair and get back onto the racetrack. He comes down onto the pit lane to get service this time around as you ride on board with the driver of the number 3 vehicle.
So I think that was a lot of dirty air right there with all Pollard and Kyle Green and the cars ahead of him. And he just pushed so hard on corner exit. There's not a whole lot, else he could have done other than maybe, back off, but then you kind of give up your entire next lap. And it was just so hard. For Robert Pattengale, that one hurts as well. I mean, innocent bystander.
Yeah, and Pat Gale was just in a position where he was in the mid-pack and just looking for attrition to fall his way, and unfortunately it looks like he's going to be some of the attrition. Nothing he necessarily does wrong here. In fact, he's taking a shallow exit to the corner, but just not a lot of time to react rather to Nate Brooker coming off of the outside wall. And as I look over to a feed, I see that Nate Brooker is pulling away from the pit lane. Still a lot of damage to that vehicle, so unfortunately I think he might have already utilized that fast repair. At this point in time, Nate Brooker is someone who's also going to be looking for attrition because he currently sits 23rd place, last car on the lead lap, with a severe amount of damage.
Looks like Richard Springer stayed out in the opening go-round of pit stops, and it's going to pit now, and that's going to put VO3 of Noah Carmichael into the race lead.
Yeah, this is an interesting call from Noah Carmichael. Should get him bonus points at least, those lap-led bonus points, but I'm a little skeptical if he plans on staying out just because he's already been on this set of tires and utilized 19 laps worth of fuel. It means he's going to have to pit relatively soon. The other thing is, I look at timing and scoring, I see a mix of guys going for tires and guys just filling up their tank. I see Joseph, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Jack B. Ryan, and Anthony Musatti on the pit lane long enough to be able to take an allotment of tires. Other guys, maybe not, but Carmichael might be in a position where he'll succumb to drivers with fresher Goodyear Eagles. But in the least, he will not be the only one.
Yeah, this strategy, I'm kind of torn because I've always been one to, want to save fuel, and then I got an iRacing and saw just how hard it is to save fuel on a sim. But, I mean, this is definitely going to help out. You're going to run at least 4 or 5 laps under caution. You can save, fuel. And if you can make it to like 33 to go, you're going to one-stop it to the end because you'll be able to save, or you're going to have to save maybe a lap or 2 of fuel. But you can commit to that. If you can make it to 33 laps to go, 32 laps to go, or 34 maybe, that's about as low as you can go, 34 laps to go, or as early as you can pit to make it on a one-stop, I'd say. Staying out here, saving that set of tires most importantly, and putting yourself into the position to maybe be able to make this on a one stop. I don't know how it's all going to work out, but I feel like that is potentially the case here, and or just save a set of tires. If you're not going to take tires anyway, might as well stay out. Yeah,
that's a good point, Emerson. I wonder if some guys might have come down on the pit lane just to fill up on fuel, though. I see the likes of Merrick Watchhorn, Holden McGill, Logan Hamilton, and Colin Stone all down on the pit lane for about 6 or 7 seconds, which to me indicates either fuel and right side tires or just fuel only. It could be either of the two. But with that allotment of only 50% fuel allowance here for the race here at Texas Motor Speedway, as a standard in the L-TAC Cup Series, I think we're right on the cusp of a lot of drivers being able to do that one stop, as you said.
Right,
with 60 laps to go. Absolutely.
Well, from here to the end, it is a one-stop race. But with this caution period, I'm talking about making it from that stage restart. That was tough as it is. If we get this caution, and certainly if we get another caution, now we're really looking at a one-stop in this entire near 80-lap stage or 78-lap stage. This could be huge if we get maybe another caution period really quickly here. But the iRacing.com safety car is going to turn left into the safety of pit lane. It'll be Noah Carmichael, the race leader, field in his hands, and we are back to racing, kinda. No, they're gonna jump up Joseph into the wall. Big wreck in the back.
Purely speechless at that one, and it looked like there might have been some drivers in the midfield who might have seen leaders from their perspective starting to, you know, get on the throttle, apply that throttle. And unfortunately, miscommunications will happen from time to time, especially when you get late into the running and you're just in this mindset of having to push. And as soon as you see the driver ahead go, I think you have to assume in certain scenarios, hey, it's time for me to get on the throttle as well.
So we're gonna take a few looks at this. This is a big wreck, and the caution just came out, so we'll have a few laps to dissect it also. But oh my goodness, so many cars got damaged in that one. Well, luckily, like Nate Brooker, Richard Springer, and Ryder Schaff, they were able to stop. But my goodness, so many cars were just caught up in that, trying to get as many positions as they could on that restart.
Yeah, and late into the running, you're in a position where you have to start to be aggressive, even when you have these massive accidents. It does look like maybe Joseph did jump the gun just a little bit on the race leaders, and that might have been where we got a little bit of the just mayhem that follows as a result.
So we saw there, Noah Carmichael dropped from 70 miles per hour to 55. That really jumbled the field up. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's current. That's current. I'm so sorry. Don't bother with that telemetry. That was not updated telemetry. But nonetheless, the whole field just kind of jumbled up there, and I don't know. We're right on board now with Jack B. Ryan. So I think he was the kind of the initiator of this incident. He's behind Joseph, and I think he makes the first contact with Taylor Butcher Benjamin. And here's Joseph, and then, oh man.
I would have to say contact with the car in the outside line, which brings the car in the outside line into the 20 of Joseph. But all around, it just seemed like a lot of guys that were a little bit antsy in terms of wanting to get onto the throttle and get going on that restart, especially with the laps continuing to tick away.
Yeah, here's another look at it. We're gonna get, you know, this front straightaway shot here. Just wow.
No, as you said, Emerson, one more opportunity. This was quite the critical incident, and this perspective will just provide a glimpse into the chaos that follows in the midfield. And it's just purely a traffic jam. I'm sure it's like something you might see in the Fort Worth, Dallas metropolitan area.
Yeah. Oh man, I live in a city. I live in Houston actually, but it's. I would assume it's the same up there as well. It's just tough, man. I do not. I dislike the traffic we get up here. Under caution here at Texas Motor Speedway, which is in the Fort Worth, Dallas area. It's on the very, very northwest side of Fort Worth. And they're still working under caution here. So we'll take a quick moment and we'll thank some of our partners here at Pit Stop TV. And of course, we'll start out with Tucson Sound Art, which is not only a Pit Stop TV sponsor, but a huge partner here with the L-TAC Cup Series. Huge support from Tucson Sound Art, and well, your picture, your music. You provide the image you want, and we will custom create a beautiful framed high quality canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker. And with Sound Art, you get the best of both worlds. Visit Tucson Sound Art today for additional info. Visit TucsonSoundArt.com today for additional info. Make sure you use promo code PitStopTV at checkout and receive 10% off of your purchase. Ever wish you could have a race engineer on speed dial? Well, now you can with Race Pace. Work with Tyler, a real-world race engineer, and step up your game before your next race. Pick up the pace with Race Pace. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy. And with permanent makeup and cryo in Maine, the owner, Ashley Bullier, is a certified micropigmentation specialist who provides professional, safe, and personalized services. You can contact Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine at permanentmakeupinmaine.com, or you can call or text them at 207-358-8683. If you're looking for the best solutions for your permanent makeup concerns, give Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine a call today to book a consultation. And of course, Pit Stop TV's parent organization, Whiplash Media, specializes in various sim racing resources, including paint schemes, stream overlays, iRacing camera packs, and more. Whiplash Media is also working on its presence in real racing, offering services such as photography and social media management and public relations. Make sure you go to www.whiplash-media.com for more. And now, onto the back straightaway here at Texas Motor Speedway. Half a lap to the restart, and we've had time to come around and pit. Nobody really pitted, unless they had damage to pit there. So, uphold and Ryder Stroud actually came in there. So I don't know. Maybe Stroud just came in and topped off. That might have just been it. But nobody really pitted there unless you came in for a faster pair and all that, which I assume Joseph definitely took a faster pair there. We'll see how this all plays out. Noah Carmichael, the race leader once again. And now, the talk about making it on a one-stop in the 78-lap stage gets even bigger. The iRacing.com safety car will find the safety of pit lane. The field in the hands of the L-3 Noah Carmichael. He gets off and away this time. We're racing at Texas. One of the calmest starts today, but as I say that, here comes Merrick Watchorn on Holden McGill. Went off of turn number 4 to the start-finish line, nearly 3 wide. Holden McGill trying to block Logan Hamilton and trying to fend off Merrick Watchorn at the same time.
And yes, well, it's possible to go 3 wide through the quad oval. I don't think that's something you necessarily want to do. As you can wait, there's contact behind, and
can they save it?
Every car still straight. Some cars look like they take critical damage. The likes of Bradley Walters involved, unfortunately. And wow, how did everyone get away? Maybe not scot-free, but everyone's still going in the right direction.
Oh, Colin Stone. He was having such a great run. Oh, we do have a battle for the lead. Noah Carmichael under attack from Merrick Watchorn. Go for it.
We go down the back straightaway, and I think it's Watchorn, although he does have to defend quite aggressively from Jack B. Ryan from behind. Jack B. Ryan already making his way back up through the field. Carmichael's going to be stuck on the outside line. He'll return now to the 3rd position as we come off of turn 4. And how about that? Just like that, Merrick Watchorn returns to the race lead. Still a lot of trouble behind him. The top 7 or 8 cars within a second of race leader Merrick Watchorn.
This is starting to look like the pack race and I was expecting at the IndyCar race I went to a couple years ago. This is insane up at the front. Jack B. Ryan, the winningest driver on the season. Could he take a 4th win tonight? Joseph powers on by the 46 of Cody Meadows. Back to Colin Stone. That is depressing. He had such a great run going today. Top 10, top 5, or just outside the top 5, but in the top 10 all day long. And just a little bit of calamity on a restart. He gets together with Bradley Walters. And now Colin Stone down in the 23rd position, 1 lap down. But to the inside, Jack B. Ryan trying to fend off Joseph sliding up the track, trying to keep it to the inside of Merrick Watchorn off of turn 4 near contact. Joseph trying to click caution on the speedway.
And it is the L3 and Noah Carmichael who stopped in the marbles outside of turn 4.
Well. Now we see what plays out here. I think the only driver out there trying to make it on a one-stop was Noah Carmichael, and well, he's gonna have to pit here. I'm pretty sure.
I think at this point in time, he's starting to stretch the fuel a little bit, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, let's get a replay and see what happened here. Oh, it was not a self-spin. I'll say that. I don't know if he came down. We'll watch the replay. But there was contact with another car. I don't know whose fault it is. We'll see it here, though. Battling Logan Hamilton. Oh man, I think there's a little bit more to this. Oh, we got to go back and see what really was it. Was it Hamilton coming down into... Oh, goodness, who was that? I believe Brett Fisher. Let's see here. We're right on board, actually, with Logan Hamilton.
And this will be a little bit of a backtrack. This allows us to get a full picture of everything leading up to that accident. And you can see he's quite aggressive on the rear of the 03 of Noah Carmichael. We go into the entry of the corner, still pressing quite aggressively. And I want to say that is the 30, perhaps coming up the racetrack a little bit. As you said, that is Brett Fisher, who I don't think takes a lot of critical damage. He still sits 5th place on the racetrack for the time being.
And that was something by Brett Fisher. He powered his way in there. Well, you will see it here. The end car, the 30 car. He looks like he's got fresh tires. He's powering up through the field right now.
Down the back straightaway here at Texas Motor Speedway, quite wide as you can see, and the battle for the lead was raging, and that was quite a bit of fun.
It looked like he missed the bottom, just trying to keep it down there on those fresh tires. Maybe the car didn't stick as much as he thought. A couple laps into the restart now, maybe those tires are a little hot. I don't know, but man, that sucks. Noah Carmichael was trying to make that one-stop strategy work and have some fresh tires.
Very simply, it's a product of the aggressive racing, the aggressive nature of a race car driver late into the running of a race, where you know that the laps are starting to run thin.
Up front, Jack B. Ryan, Joseph, Cody Meadows, Holden McGill, Brett Fisher, the top 5. And it looks like 91 Americ Watchhorn is 11th. And has he taken tires here? Yes, he has. He's pitted. The top 10 have stayed out. And, I mean, he can't make it to the end from here. I don't know why he pitted here. You know, if he just pitted on a couple cautions ago, I don't quite follow the move to pit here unless it was a splash of fuel to try to make it to the end.
Looking at how long he was in his pit box, though, it's 14 seconds, which would normally indicate a 4 tires and fuel pit stop. And I also just look at the timing boards that give us a little bit of information based off of that last pit cycle. He's not the first person out of the pit lane. It looked like Nate Brooker came down the pit lane 1 lap earlier than the rest of the drivers somehow, and he's actually slotted in that 11th position, and interestingly enough.
Nate Brooker having a wild day, to say the least. That 3 car is not in the best of shape. I really thought he had his fast repair saved after that first incident, because that back end was still mangled, but man, that might have just been contact with somebody else. At this point, it's been contacted by about everything but the pace car. It's been a rough one for Nate Brooker, but again, it's late for him. Very, very what's the word?
In fact, early, if you will, in the morning.
Yeah, very early. It is. It's Saturday over there. Just very thankful that he's here the entire stint. You know, he easily said, "I'm going to bed," but he's here. And he's here for the series. He's an admin of the series and doing his duty and being here and racing as well.
And he's just one example of the commitment of, whether it be the drivers, the administrators, everyone that makes this series happen. I don't always get to partake in this series on a Friday night, but it's always a lot of fun with the NASCAR Cup Series stock car. Does not matter the racetrack these guys take it to. They're effectively able to put on quite the show. And the thing we've been talking about a lot tonight is the fact that the winner can come from just about anywhere in the field.
So this is going to be the first restart. Joseph is not the leader, and he does not have Merrick Watchhorn ahead of him. So this will be an interesting one. Joseph has Jack B. Ryan to his inside. Jack B. Ryan, the leader, as he watches the iRacing.com safety car pull into the safety of pit lane and get a nice little jump on the field here. We're back to racing at Texas. what a start from Cody Meadows to put himself back into the second position. Oh, major block coming off of turn number 4.
Yeah, at this point of the race, this is when desperation will sometimes come into play. Cody Meadows does all he can, but the pace of Joseph just looks to be too much for the time being. He does come off of the back straightaway, and they're about dead even, although Joseph just looks like he's still in a prime position to be able to take advantage of the second place. And in fact, he will clear the 46 of Meadows onto the entry of 3. We'll have to see if Meadows has anything coming into the entry of turn 1 and 2. But Joseph, as I say that, he's starting to pounce on race leader Jack B. Ryan. And I think we're in the position for another lead change.
Jack B. Ryan tried to defend, but Joseph too strong on the entry. Can he stick it through the center and the exit? The run Cody Meadows gets. He's going to push Jack B. Ryan forward. That's his teammate. And Cody Meadows not able to get Jack B. Ryan into turn 3 enough as Joseph is clear to the race lead once again at Texas. Into the wall goes Richard Springer. Around goes the 57 of Stefan Purcell. They were having a great run. Caution on the speedway. Upside down goes somebody.
And I think we've reached that point of the race where it just seems to be cautions breed cautions. Several purely brutal hits that just make you happy that we're at least on the virtual side of things. Because those were just absolutely, atrocious hits.
Upside down Richard Springer went. My goodness. Let's see how this all played out. It's coming off of turn number 4, and I think Springer catches the wall here and hits Stefan Purcell and Nate Brooker. Another incident. My goodness, launched. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, what a ride down the front straightaway here at Texas.
And that virtual 3,400-pound stock car nearly comes tumbling down on the 59 of Bradley Walters. That car was already mangled, so that very well could have ended his day if he ended up making contact with the flipping vehicle.
Well, we'll see it here from the onboard of Richard Springer. Don't worry, this is not the gyro cam. This is the static camera inside the car. He's getting the wall there, and my goodness, he's gonna get hit there. And this being the gyro cam doesn't really help. That is still a wild ride. Not being the gyro cam doesn't help.
A little tough to give a verdict there. Could have been a lapse of judgment. Could have been a equipment failure. So many things could have been a result of that. But I think the net result, or the net takeaways, of the fact that was probably the biggest incident. Well, no, it actually isn't the biggest incident we've seen so far today in terms of number of cars involved, but it did involve some of the heaviest hits that we've seen. And that's saying a lot with how brutal this race has been at times.
Looked like he just kind of missed the turn in the quad oval, and oh my goodness, his back end resting on Stefan Purcell's front end, and then Barrick Uppel coming in. My goodness. One more look at it. We'll get the onboard here of Bradley Walters. See what he saw coming through this incident.
And as we ride on board with him, you see him already suffering the negative effects of this vehicle that's been hampered by damage so much already. I would expect quite a fair amount of engine damage to that 59 Camry. And he's quite a ways back as this incident starts. You can see he's just entering the quad.
Oh my goodness!
I think that's a scenario as a race car driver where you have to think about in the least getting off of the throttle. I understand that braking could be a little bit awkward, especially if you get into a scenario where you apply too much input and you lock up. But I think at least slowing down gives you a little bit more time to react, and that's something he can take from this incident and apply into future races in the least.
I had no idea that happened back there. Well, we'll get one more look at it now. We'll get the static cameras of this whole incident. This is absolutely wild. Oh my goodness. The ride Richard Springer takes across 3 lanes and some O'Reilly paint down there. Man. Oh man, oh man.
All I can say to summarize, yet again, just a lot of hard hits, and it's another change of the pace, another change of the strategy of this race. And at this point in time, I would say the pace has slowed down quite a bit, but we're in a scenario where I think we're still feeling the laps continue to tick away very, very slowly, and we're yet at the same time, running out of time.
Absolutely. Let's see how the race is broken down today with the race info. We've had 8 cautions for 31 laps at this moment. Laps are going to count under this caution period. 10 lead changes today. That is, coming into today, I don't think we expected 10 double-digit lead changes. It's been pretty entertaining in that regard.
Couldn't agree more with you, Emerson. And we've seen a diverse set of leaders as well. Early on, it seemed like we were set up for maybe a showdown between Logan Hamilton and Merrick Watchhorn, but we've seen guys like Jack B. Ryan, Joseph, currently as we see Noah Carmichael. I can't remember if Cody Meadows led a lap or not. I don't think so, because I believe he restarted in the second position. But that's just a couple of the examples of the drivers we've seen be able to go out there and get some screen times for some of their partners who I'm sure ride aboard with a lot of pride here in the L-TAC Cup Series.
Absolutely. Take a look at the weather into today. Remember how we started out. The race started at 70 degrees air temp, 73 degrees the track temp. It is now 67 degrees the air temp, and 70 degrees the track temp. It's cooled off 3 whole Fahrenheit. But that's pretty cool to iRacing standards. 70 degrees Fahrenheit, that is a cold racetrack, and it is a cold track at that. Winds coming out the southeast, so about the same. They were at 10.5 miles per hour earlier, coming out of the south. So the weather staying very stagnant, even though nighttime has fallen.
These conditions, though, in the least, should help these drivers, which are having to stretch their tires to their absolute limits, considering the fact that, as we've hit on here and there throughout the night, these drivers are, in theory, about 1 tire set short of being able to utilize a set on each run.
Absolutely, but I think that is since changed with the slew of cautions we've gotten in this third stage. But the iRacing.com safety car will find its safety in the pit lane. It'll be Joseph leading us back to green here at Texas. Coming off of turn number 4, Holden McGill, Merrick Watchhorn and Jackie Ryan going at it for the second position. Merrick Watchhorn up high, trying to get around the outside of Jackie Ryan off of turn number 2. Sorry, Trey, go for it.
No, you're good, Emerson. This is absolutely exciting action. And as we come down the back straightaway, things will settle out for that second position. And now the fight rages on for that 4th spot. It's still Cody Meadows. He's making maximum use of that track position following that pit call, but now he's looking to potentially be straight 3 wide. That's your points leader, Holden McGill, forcing things quite aggressively. And I guess when you have a budget of about 37, 39 points, it's 37 coming into tonight. I think it would be aggressive in certain scenarios, and he makes it work to his advantage, already up to the 3rd position. And as I say that, side by side for the lead onto the entry of turn 3, it's anyone's game.
Merrick Watchhorn looks like he's going to absolutely power by Joseph and Holden McGill. 6 to nose down there as well. It's a 2-for-1 special. That's a 2-for-1 return purchase for Joseph 1st to 3rd. And here comes Holden McGill right on by Merrick Watchhorn. Holden McGill, see ya later. My goodness, the run he's had through the field. Can anybody stay with him? Can Merrick Watchhorn stay with Holden McGill as we'll come around to 34 laps to go?
He is on slightly fresher tires than some of his competitors. In fact, this is only his 6th lap that he's completing on this set of tires, and a few of those laps were in fact under that caution flag. You look at Merrick Watchhorn, 15 laps on this set of tires. 24 laps for Joseph. So he's definitely making full use, and he has to at this point of the race. He needs to push out to a gap as much as possible. In fact, his nearest competitor on the same set of tires as him, in terms of hitting on the same lap, it's Logan Hamilton all the way back in the 6th position right now.
Yeah, let's take a look at the gaggle of cars that is back here. Jack B. Ryan trying to fend off Logan Hamilton. Hamilton trying not to let this another race where he's led laps and had some speed slip away from him. I don't think Hamilton has the best car, but he did qualify on pole at sunset. Here in the nighttime, I have not seen Hamilton's car turn up since. I don't know. Again, like you said, big picture wise, this is great. Great runs for Logan Hamilton. But man, oh man, is it demoralizing to finish up here week after week, but not get it done. Now, there's still a lot of laps to go, and he certainly could in the coming laps, especially, you know, if cautions fall his way, or they get to real work up here, which Holden McGill has not been able to drive away from Eric Watchorn as we expected on his fresher tires. He's going to open up a little bit of gap, but not driven away. But, you know, once again, I mean, Logan Hamilton just does not look like he's got the car to win. He's got a fast car. I just don't know if he can outdo these three ahead of him.
No, and as you said, Emerson, you hit on some really good points. But I think ultimately with where he is in the point standings, knowing that he's all but guaranteed a berth into the playoffs, you want the bragging rights. You want to say, hey, I am a race winner in the L-TAC Cup Series this season. That could be a lot going into the playoffs. And as you said, maybe he's missing a little bit at this point in time. A lot can still happen. And in fact, he's only 8/10 behind the leaders. And maybe he's starting to find something. I have no idea. We still have about 30 laps to be able to settle it, though. Interestingly enough, though, I look at the top four in the running, and it is in fact your top four in the point standings. Maybe not in that order, but sure enough, that's your top four right now on the racetrack.
That's correct. The point standings go Holden McGill, Joseph, Logan Hamilton, Merrick Watchorn. That is the current running order, except Watchorn is second instead of fourth. Hamilton up to the inside of Joseph. He's trying to shut me up. I thought he didn't have the pace to get up here and contend with the top three, but he's driven right on by Joseph.
You know, we've seen commentators' curses go negatively, but it's almost the reverse of that we're seeing right now, because his pace is just probably the best in the field for the time being. It's just, yeah, purely unbelievable. He is, however, on the same set of tires as Holden McGill, but he does seem a little bit quicker than our race leader for the time being. In fact, closing up about 3/10 in the last couple of laps from the last time we checked in on that gap.
Not the fastest laps of the race, but Logan Hamilton set the fastest lap the last 3 laps. Hamilton has turned something on in that 12th car, and it's not over for Logan Hamilton. The time to come alive is right now. And does he have anything for the two drivers at the top of the standings, the two most consistent drivers, I'd say? Holden McGill, Merrick Watchorn. I see Watchorn actually kind of fall off a little bit, but Logan Hamilton has to get through 2 winners at the top of the standings if he's going to get himself a win.
140 laps completed, about 27 laps to go here at the Texas Motor Speedway. And it looks like maybe for a second we're going to get a little bit of a chance to breathe for this battle between the podium 3. The one thing we can report on, though, looks like Joseph, he is going to start to fall off a little bit. Of course, he is on tires that are worn out a little bit more compared to the 3 ahead of him. Still doing a very respectable job, and things could very well go his way if he figures out the correct strategy call here, as these guys are probably looking at having to make that ultimate money stop here, that last stop, that crucial pit stop.
Absolutely. You know, we're 15 laps in, so they can go about another 15 laps or so, which is going to be about 157. So they're going to pit with about 10 laps to go or thereabouts. And what's going to happen then? And again, we watch this battle of cars back here, and this is Kyle Green on Brett Fisher. It's kind of stagnated back here. Logan Hamilton has since closed up. They actually caught the lapped vehicle of Barrick Uphold. The Texan in the field going 1 lap down here. It has not been the best of days for Barrick, but Logan Hamilton with the run on Merrick Watchorn. Holden McGill starting to drive away from Merrick. But here comes Logan Hamilton trying to take second.
And he better sort it out quick, because there is going to be more lap traffic in the way of these race leaders as they continue to approach. Still side by side, it looks like he is going to get behind the race leader for the time being. McGill continues to hang on, but as we've heard these drivers say, 3 and 4, it essentially almost acts like a straightaway. It acts as an opportunity to slipstream to the driver ahead of you, and perhaps we're going to see another dive into the entry of the corner.
I don't think he's close enough to make anything happen here. It's going to go another lap. And I think he's got to get around Merrick Watchorn and then somehow strategize his way ahead of Holden McGill. Logan Hamilton all over the back end of the 91, but what's it going to take to get around Merrick Watchorn? He's got the run into 3. Can he hold it out of turn 4 with all that dirty air? He's got the slipstream still. I don't think he's close enough. He might prove me wrong. Into turn 1, he's down there.
And to correct myself from just a couple laps ago, we're looking at a raging battle for the second position on the racetrack. Hamilton trying to make the best use of these slightly younger tires compared to Merrick Watchorn ahead of him. And what this is doing, this is allowing Holden McGill to continue to build that gap.
Pit stops. I'm sorry.
And here we do see some green flag pit stops down on the pit lane. I believe that's Joseph and many others. So this should get these guys to the end of the race with about 21 laps remaining. And yeah, that is Joseph coming off the pit lane. Looks like no issues for the driver of the 20 Camaro.
I looked over the timing and scoring and saw drivers dropping down the running order fast at 0 miles per hour. I thought there was a crash. But Holden McGill, our race leader here, coming around to 20 laps to go.
And as we come through turns 3 and 4, McGill continues to build that gap. It's about 3/4 of a second this time at the start-finish line. Looking at timing and scoring, the best of the drivers that have pitted up to this point in time, it's Joseph, currently sitting in the 15th position of the racetrack, but I do expect every driver will have to pit at least one time. So now we get to have a lot of fun as a viewer. We get to figure out if the undercut's going to work or if these guys who are stretching their fuel and their tires are going to be able to make it work.
So here's a couple different scenarios. Does Joseph have another set of tires? Because if he did, he's getting a major undercut on these 3 ahead of him. If he didn't, you saw him fall off earlier. Was that because he was saving tires? Either way, watch for Joseph to strategize his way back into this battle.
It is sure to be a lot of fun. It's up to him as a race car driver, find that clean air and make the most use of the fresh virtual Goodyear Eagles that he has for the time being. Isn't it amazing, Emerson? We're into what is now the final 18 or 19 laps here at Texas Motor Speedway, and still a lot to settle. Colin Stone, we're going to see him duck down onto the pit lane from the top 10. It's going to be 4 tires and fuels, I expect, and now it's going to be Kyle Green, among others.
Yep, several drivers on pit lane. We stay with Holden McGill, who has a second advantage over Merrick Watchorn. And Logan Hamilton. The laps tick down. They can go about another 5 to 7 laps. But here comes Hamilton, the short pit. Is there any tires in that 12 cars pit?
We'll find out. All it takes for us to figure out is, are we going to see Logan Hamilton in that pit lane for about 14 seconds? That's probably going to be an indication that he's putting 4 tires on his vehicle. Interestingly enough, though, he's on 10-lap fresher tires than that of second place Merrick Watchorn. He's just not able to compensate with the dirty air. And in fact, race leader down onto the pit lane. Move Merrick Watchorn down onto the pit, or actually into the race lead. Holden McGill down onto the pit lane. And here it is, the crucial stop for our race leader.
Logan Hamilton down and away, and that was a 9.1 second pit stop. We now watch Holden McGill, as Merrick Watchorn's still out there. Holden McGill stops in the box. We wait. 3, now 4 seconds, now 5. There's right sides going on. There's tires going on this 21. And he's taking 4. Merrick Watchorn to pit lane.
In theory, this should propel Logan Hamilton ahead of our race leader. But just as I say that, I look at timing and scoring. Joseph is currently scored ahead of Logan Hamilton. The only thing is Joseph will be on slightly older tires than his adversary behind him in that 12 Camaro. So only a few tenths of a second separate those guys, and Logan Hamilton is going to be purely storming past this 20 in a few laps, I unfortunately feel, for Joseph.
Merrick Watchorn on pit lane. Jeremy Berger up there as well. Brett Fisher, the race leader here at Texas. Nate Brooker in second. This is the battle for the lead.
And it's going to continue to be Fisher holding off his competitor. I do expect these guys are on about 27 or 28 lap old tires, 27 or 28 laps worth of fuel utilized. In theory, they should probably have to pit unless they figure out some very extreme fuel saving strategies. trying to bob and weave their way through. I'm not sure who that competitor is. I believe that is actually Robert Pattingale, and that's also a driver who has not made his way onto the pit lane quite yet.
That is Frank Flores in the 23.
Okay.
Working his way forward. He is 2 laps down. The first driver 2 laps down, trying to put himself 1 lap down.
Still a lot to play for anywhere on the racetrack. We look forward to this battle for what we would presume to be the race lead. Joseph continuing to fend off Logan Hamilton. This is a driver who's fending off a competitor ahead of him with 5 lap older, or a competitor behind him rather, with 5 lap newer tires. And now Hamilton is up to the back bumper of that number 20, and let's see if Hamilton has anything for him.
You know what this is? This is a battle between second and third in points who have yet to win this season. Who wants to win more and want to stay in front of Holden McGill, who's on fresh tires? He's ran 2/10 faster the last lap. Actually, we'll get the timing when everything sorts out. Brett Fisher still stays out. Nate Brooker has come in and pit. The battle for the lead, or the theoretical lead, around the outside is Logan Hamilton. Can he get the power down? Still side of contact! Hamilton's gonna save it! Joseph is on the apron!
Purely brilliant racecraft from both drivers. Sure, there was contact, but they're both able to utilize their talent to stay the vehicle still side by side a half later. How is this even possible? Still, and all this is doing, this is allowing the competitors behind them, such as Holden McGill, on even fresher tires to continue to close up. That last lap, due to that contact, he's able to close up about 7/10 of a second.
That was huge. I think that might be what takes away this race from both of them. They maybe could have settled it between themselves and kept Holden McGill at bay. Now, that's a big if. Brett Fisher is still the race leader, by the way. This is the battle for second and the theoretical lead. And Logan Hamilton's already been contacted once. And he's going to send Joseph up the track.
Damage to the 20th. Joseph, I'm sure he's going to be quite frustrated as a result of that. At this point in time, that might be it for his potential run at a race win. And now all the pressure is on Logan Hamilton to hold off even more hungry competitors behind him. Is that Holden McGill? Yeah, that's Holden McGill. Less than a second separating the top 2 at this point in time. And the race is not quite over yet for this battle, for the lead.
Brett Fisher's coming to pit lane. Logan Hamilton has taken over the race lead. But for how long can he finish in this top spot with a hard-charging Holden McGill on fresh tires? Holden McGill is running 7/10 faster. It's only a matter of time, I feel.
We'll come to the completion of lap 159. It will be 8 laps remaining. Not that much time left for McGill to make the move happen. And you hear this said time and time again, but getting to the car ahead of you is one thing. Passing is purely an entirely different subject. And at this point in time, as I say that, it's not going to be just 1, but 2 competitors looking to make that move for the race lead. And we all of a sudden have a 3-way duel for the race win. And if things get hairy yet again, I think Joseph could be in a prime position to take advantage.
3-car battle for the race lead here at Texas Motor Speedway. 7 laps to go. Logan Hamilton, the fence down low. Holden McGill's going to send Logan Hamilton.
Another miraculous save, and that's going to put him into the clutches of the man who he may have potentially sent. Joseph, as I say this, nearly side by side for the race lead. McGill's going to continue to hold off Watchorn for the time being, but we're at that point of the racetrack where if you're Merrick Watchorn, you're gaining a massive amount of slipstream. We're going to come through the quad oval, only 2 car lengths separating the top 2. They're going to be near side by side. It looks like Watchorn's going to try to make the overtake on the outside.
Watchorn trying what he can to get around this 21 car. We've seen Joseph make contact with Logan Hamilton. We've seen Logan Hamilton make contact with Joseph. We've seen Holden McGill make contact with Logan Hamilton. Will Merrick Watchorn make contact with Holden McGill? What is going on up here? The block off of turn number 4. Merrick Watchorn trying to find his way around Holden McGill. 5 laps to go at Texas.
The clock continues to tick, and we're getting to the point of the run where if you're Merrick Watchorn, you might be beginning to suffer the damaging effects of dirty air, which make overtaking so difficult. Oh! He's going to peek to the inside line. That's going to compromise his run through the middle of the exit of the corner. So he might be sacrificing an attempt at a pass going into turns 1 and 2. But Merrick Watchorn shows that he has a lot of will to try to go out there and get the job done and try to pick up that victory.
4 laps to go here at Texas. The run out of turn number 2. There's a lap vehicle up ahead as well. Stefan Purcell, he gets out of the way. He's going to let the 2 leaders duke it out. If they get feisty, Logan Hamilton is still sat in 3rd.
Through turns 3 and 4. This time by, it should only be, 3 laps to go here at the Texas Motor Speedway. Emerson, aggressive blocking from the 21 of McGill, doing everything he can to try to hold off a storming Merrick Watchhorn, and he's doing an incredibly effective job of it at the time being. We're going to see McGill, or rather Watchhorn, you'll have to excuse me there, peek to the outside. Not quite enough real estate for him to fully go to the outside line, but as a result, an aggressive dive, not quite going to get the job done. All around, this is pure racecraft from these two.
2 laps to go, 3 miles to settle it here in Texas. We've seen a lot of boot scooting boogies. Is there one more left in this battle for a race lead? Holden McGill gets the apron. Merrick Watchorn's gonna get the run. They're gonna be side by side down the back straight for the penultimate time. Merrick Watchorn with the preferred line into turn 3.
Only about 2 miles to go, Emerson, and that time, effectively, that's going to make you your new race leader, Merrick Watchorn. He has a lot of momentum. It looks like he might already be starting to pull from Holden McGill. Is that going to be the move for the race win? We still have a lap to settle it.
Holden McGill, one last chance. He's going to send it into 1. He couldn't get to the 91. That's it. I don't know if Holden McGill's got anything unless Watchorn nearly gets the wall there. Halfway down the back straight, now into turn 3 for the final time. Merrick Watchorn, an incredible final stint on these old tires from everybody in the top 4, but Merrick Watchorn, a winner again here in the L-TAC Cup Series here at Texas.
We may have faced some trials and tribulations in the middle stages with the caution flags continuing to rack up, but we were treated to a fantastic show there at the end of the race. 4 competitors putting everything on the line for a race win, purely for bragging points. All guys that are at this point in time all but locked into the L-TAC Cup Series playoffs, and sure, there may have been some aggressive cases of contact that have gone wrong, but we were treated purely to a show, and there was just a massive amount of respect shown from all of these competitors.
That might have been the best race I've ever seen on this new Texas Motor Speedway. That was phenomenal. Merrick Watchorn on the front straightaway. It is his. He's going to burn him down. It's his 2nd win on the season. He's going to burn him down with Colin Stone.
Fully deserved after that one. I'm just left purely speechless at the action we had. Completely out of breath. And it's just a pleasure to be able to call such a brilliant race.
Absolutely. Well, don't go away. We're going to be right back with post-race coverage of the L-TAC Cup Series here from the Texas Motor Speedway. Merrick Watchorn, an amazing finish. He'll get the lap. He'll get the pass done with 2 laps to go, and the win here in the Lone Star State. Don't go away. Post-race interviews on the flip side. We'll be right back.
Sound Art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it Sound Art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound Art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Sound Art introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. Sound Art ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
Welcome, race fans, back to Pit Stop TV. We're now into post-race coverage here at the Texas Motor Speedway. What a day, what a finish, what a race, what a race, what a race. That's really all you can say about it. Phenomenal stuff. And yeah, let's get right into it, shall we? Let's get into our post-race coverage here and our post-race interviews here with our race winner, Merrick Watchorn, who had a phenomenal day today. Merrick Watchorn was able to get the job done with the pass with 2 laps to go, with Holden McGill's mistake down in the turns 1 and 2. But Merrick, what in the world happened on that final stint?
I knew if I waited I knew that pit strategy was going to come down to tires. You had to save an extra set towards the very end. So, I mean, everyone was running pretty decently, and like I knew it was somebody I was going to have to fight for the end. And man, oh, that's how you do it. I mean, that was intense fighting, clean race between Holden. I mean, I'm going to give it props where Holden is. Like Holden, he gave me everything I could handle and more. I mean, that was fun. That was an awesome race.
Well, if Holden McGill, I don't know. First, how do you think you completed the pass there?
He got tight. Like, honestly, I thought he hooked the bottom perfectly, and I knew I had like two lap newer tires than he did, so I knew I can kind of send it a little bit deeper than he was, but I didn't know he hit the bottom. He said he hit the bottom and went up the track, and to me it just looked like he hooked it perfectly. That was like a perfect line, and it just went up the track. So I'm like, oh, his tires are going away. So when I finally got that big run on the inside, I'm like, this is how it's going to go down. So I mean, he gave me everything. Like I said, like we were battling for those last 10 laps. It was intense.
So you're sitting behind him, coming up, up to Joseph and Logan Hamilton. You see they're slamming each other all over the road. What's going through your mind as you're catching closer and closer to those two?
Don't wreck me. don't wreck me, please. Like, let me finish the top 3. If I have to finish 3rd, I'll be happy with that. But I really wanted this win. I got to represent for my dad. My dad's from Texas, so I got to represent for Texas. I have to represent for Texas.
As a Texan myself, I respect that big time. So I'm trying to remember. Next week we're at the Bristol Dirt Track, the All-Star race. How you feeling about your chances in the All-Star?
I'm garbage at dirt, but you know what? It's gonna be a fun race. It's All-Star. Supposed to have fun there and goof off and be one of the guys. So, I'm kind of looking forward to it. Maybe we can win the All-Star race. Maybe we finish in top 5 like we did last time. But it's going to be a fun, interesting race. I'm like I said, I'm completely horrible at dirt, but I'm here to have some fun and get some racing in. And I'm trying to get that 3rd win now. I want to go and be part of the other person who has 3 wins, Jack Ryan.
I was gonna say, whoa, upper person. Is there anything going on there? But nonetheless, I'm sure very, very happy things are happening here with this victory in Texas. Congratulations to you once again on that win. Who do you have to thank? Who do you have to shout out? Who makes all of this happen for you?
Man, I gotta thank my sponsors, Twiggy Innovation in Motion, and I want to thank Futuristic Studios, really good friend of mine, and he was like my 2nd sponsor on the car, so he really he's like, I'll put my sponsor on there. I'm like, yeah, cool, man. And then the 3rd one's Capture the Occasion Incorporated, another really good friend of mine, and he takes really great pictures. Check him out on Instagram. I have to find his handle, and I'll shout outs for him there next time. But man, I want to thank my new teammates, Bumper to Bumper. I left RCS and I moved over to Bumper, and me and Colin tried to do a nose burnout with our tires, and we absolutely failed. So, we got to shout out to my new teammates and my new team, and new team, new win. And let's keep this momentum going and go to next week and the week after that, and just try to see if we can win this championship. My eyes are on that, and that's the end goal.
Absolutely. Yeah, once again, great show, great race. Led 68 laps tonight. So not only that, you were pretty dominant, pretty commanding out in front. Congratulations on the win today here at Texas Motor Speedway. Best luck to you at the All-Star race, and then next points race at the Charlotte Roval.
Yeah, guys, thanks.
Absolutely. Merrick Watchorn, our race winner tonight, 2nd race win on the season. We're going to send it over to Trey Shuttlesworth, who's standing by with our 2nd place finisher, Holden McGill.
Holden, thank you for joining us. I know it has to, feel very unfortunate to not be able to walk away with a win after such a tight battle. But what are the initial feelings after being able to walk away still with the 2nd place here at Texas?
Well, I'm happy to be up there competing for wins again. It's been a little while since I've been able to do that. So I'll take it as a good night and keep on rolling.
A big topic of conversation tonight was the fact that it seemed like you guys were a little bit short on the number of tire sets you had available. How were you able to manage that in a race that was so unpredictable like this one?
Well, just the beginning of the 3rd stage, I tried to keep those tires on as long as I could until I just felt like I was going to start dropping. And I feel like I got kind of probably like a 10-lap advantage over a lot of the guys, and that's what got me back up to the front at the very end.
No, that definitely did seem to pay dividends. So otherwise concerning tonight, we already covered a lot of tonight, but what was your mindset going in? What did you think was the maximum you could do?
Well, maximum would have been win the race, but it is what it is. But I figured with it being a mile and a half, Texas, it's just you race turn 1 and 2 and then race back to turn 1. There's no telling who was going to be good because it really didn't take a whole lot once you figured it out. But I thought it ended up being a pretty good race among the top 4 or 5.
No, we thought so up here. It seemed like a very fun race for drivers and viewers alike. So yeah, otherwise, Texas was a fun one, but next week, no points are going to come into play, and we're going to be in an entirely different discipline as we take the stock cars to Bristol Dirt for the All-Star race. What are your feelings, expectations heading into that?
I expect some bent fenders, but I have a little bit of dirt experience, so I think it'll be an opportunity, and just it'll be a nice break away from points racing, and you can just focus on going and getting the checkered.
All right, thank you, Holden. Just one more thing before you head out for the night. Anyone you'd like to thank, sponsor, friends, family-wise?
Thank you to my teammates, Grant Peterson and Anthony Masadi. Anthony was actually spotting for me those last 50 laps after he decided he was done because he took his tires by accident. Thank you to the admins for putting up with all the drama that happens every Friday night. Thank you to Pit Stop TV for broadcasting, and for, I guess, Whiplash Media being on the car tonight.
Nope, we appreciate that as well. Congratulations on second place, Holden, and look forward to Bristol Dirt next week. Look forward to seeing what you are able to do.
Looking forward to it myself. Y'all have a good one.
That was Holden McGill. He'll pick up the runner-up spot in a brilliant run to the end of the race. And Emerson, I think you have our third place finisher now.
Yep, alrighty. We're going to be joined by third place finisher Logan Hamilton. And Logan, you qualified on pole. It looked like the speed was there early, and then you're kind of getting hounded there. I can't remember. I believe it was Merrick who was just hounding you in that first stage, and the caution came out. And it looked like it took a while for you to get that speed back. But towards the end, the nighttime came. Looked like the nighttime, I said during the broadcast, at the early part of that third stage, I don't know if the nighttime's really suiting Logan Hamilton. And as soon as I said that, you started powering your way forward. How was the car, especially at this time of day? And then what happened out there?
I'm so happy I got the pole. I mean, for a second I thought I was gonna win, and then I realized I had no grip. But it was my first career pole in L-TAC, and the car felt really good in clean air. Just I knew that if I could defend for the first 10 laps or so, I'd be able to stay out, and it felt pretty good. It didn't really get loose on me at all. And then once we got towards the end, I took 2 tires at the last green flag stop to try and get some track position, and then Joseph had to go and take no tires on me. But yeah, it was definitely loose once I took 2 tires, but that was to be expected, and I was just trying to manage that. And then I'd say I probably had 2 saves of the night right there in the last 10 laps. So I'd take this P3 after the race I had.
Absolutely. Talk about him. Down the back straightaway, looks like y'all were just kind of heading down the back. Maybe he was coming over to side draft you, or at least get close to you, restrict kind of your entry on the outside into 3, and make you come together on the back straightaway, and then kind of get into him. And right now on the screen we have Holden getting into you later in the race, but you get into him into 1, and it almost looked like the exact same thing happened to you and Holden a few laps later. So what kind of happened those final laps from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that I had to get out front and try to pull away as much as I can, because Holden and Merritt were coming on those 4 tires, and so my first priority was to get by Joseph, and my car was so loose that I really couldn't get by him. The first try I had was when we came together down the backstretch. I don't know if he tried to side draft me, or if I don't know what he did, but I've watched the replay a couple times now, and it seemed he came up just a little bit, and I don't know if I came down at all. But I mean, I didn't try to spin him or half spin him, whatever I did after, just trying to give him the bumper. And with the way he positioned his car and the way I turned in earlier, just got onto his left rear and passed the bone. And then later I had the thing with Holden, and I immediately thought of Kansas because it was the exact same thing. But I'm pretty happy I saved the car, because I saved myself a top 3.
Absolutely. And you got to get it all out. I mean, granted, I knew you knew they were coming on 4 fresh tires, Holden and Merrick, but I was not expecting to hear that, I guess, this kind of calmness from someone being up there in the points and still without a race win this season. I know you you hate hearing that, but
Race win ever.
Man, oh man, you've had the speed.
I can't. It's just finishing the races. Always something happens. It's like I'm Chase Elliott in the 24. Something always happens towards the end of the race. But I think we'll get there eventually. I'm really, really looking forward to the Roval. We all know what happened there last year.
Yes, sir. I was watching that.
So yeah, I'm gonna be driving angry at the Roval. I'm pretty determined to win that race, and every time I've seen something with the Roval come up this year, whether it's been the setup or just someone mentioning it, it always kind of sparks a bit of interest and excitement. And I think as long as I take 4 tires, I should have a good shot at it. And as long as the 99 doesn't show up, because he's like a god at road racing.
Derek Roosevelt is very fast. He was at Sonoma. All right. Before the Roval, we have the All-Star race at Bristol Dirt. Are you gonna attend that? How are you feeling about it? What you thinking?
Well, I'm not really sure how the whole All-Star race is gonna go. I don't know if they're gonna have like the open like they do in real life, where you gotta race your way in. Because if we do, I'm going to have to race that open because I don't have a win. But yeah, I mean, I'll attend it. I won't practice for it or anything. My sole focus is gonna be the Roval going forward, and then the races beyond. I don't remember what they are, but obviously points races are the main focus. But I mean, all-star races would be nice, but it's not a big priority.
Absolutely. Well, a podium today. I don't know how you saved that thing twice, but you did. Who do you have to thank? Who do you have to shout out? Who makes things happen for you for this third place finish tonight here at Texas?
Do want to thank Tucson Sound Art. Great people to work with. Robert Pattengale got himself top 20 tonight. Stephen Parrott made me this beautiful neon Tucson Sound Art car, which
Love it.
I got a lot of likes on that, so I'm pretty happy that I got it a good finish. Put it up front for most of the race. All my friends and family that are watching the race tonight. It was a late one because longer race, but appreciate all of them staying up to watch, and appreciate you guys for always broadcasting when we have these quite dramatic races in our league. And yeah, looking forward to the next one for sure.
I will say, very, overall with the league, very happy with the quality of racing this season. It has definitely picked up the competitiveness, the cleanliness. It has definitely been a fun season this season. But anyway, congratulations to you on your podium here at Texas Motor Speedway. Some laps led in the pole, of course. Best luck to you at the All-Star race. More importantly, I guess, the Charlotte Roval.
Yes, the Charlotte Roval. I'm really excited for that. But yeah, thank y'all. Have a good night, and I'll see y'all later.
Absolutely. You have a good one.
You too.
Logan Hamilton, third place finisher here at Texas Motor Speedway. Man, I don't know how he does that and keep calm after all that happened. All the hooting and hollering that went on there at the end. Just phenomenal. Great mentality, by the way. And setting himself up for the Roval again. Dominated the Roval last season. We'll see what happens then. But yeah, Trey, what do you make of those post-race interviews?
Just to talk a little bit more about Logan.
Yeah.
Ultimately, what I got from that is just like he has a very effective big picture mindset, if you will. Ultimately, as he said, that race win is really important. Doesn't seem so focused on the All-Star race, and that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, because I'm sure that's just going to be about going out there and having a lot of fun. And of course, that's what league racing is about, but you also want to keep the points racing factor in mind for the races where points actually come into play. Otherwise, we talked to 3 drivers that have a lot of reason to be confident at this point of the season. And I mean, in fact, we look and we see that we're working with 3 guys that are in the top 4 in the point standings entering tonight.
Absolutely. There was another one. Joseph came home 4th. He's up there in points. I believe he is 2nd in points. So top 4 in points. Finished 1, 2, 3, 4 at a NASCAR bread and butter track. That makes sense, but by any means, that finish was anything far from the normal. That was insane. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, 5th in points. He comes off with the top 5 in points, finish in the top 5. That is... There we go. That's exactly what we need. With how competitive this league is, at the top 5 in points, they're still the top 5. That's phenomenal in itself. But Merrick Watron with leading 68 laps today with the win, starting 2nd. Just a great run. Trey, how about the 6th through 10th?
To round out the top 10 then, Kyle Green comes home in 6th place. Sure, a part-timer, but this will be his second top 10 of the season. Colin Stone will recover for a 7th place finish, and then Cody Meadows makes effective use of track position early in the final stage to come home in the top 10 with an 8th place finish. Nate Brooker next in the 9th position. After all the trial and tribulation the driver from across the pond suffered tonight, he still gets a top 10. Incredibly impressive. And then rounding out the top 10 tonight, it's Jeremy Berger, 12 seconds back from your race winner, Merrick Watchorn.
Oh, that's incredible. I didn't even notice that for Nate Brooker. Great run for him. 11th place, Brett Fisher. After all of that, he was in the middle of a lot tonight. Noah Carmichael comes home on the lead lap, 27.5 seconds behind. He'll finish 12th. Kevin Franks, 13th Daytona winner. He'll be 13th. Sean Deal, 14th. Last car on the lead lap, Ryder Shroud, 15th. The first driver, 1 lap down.
And then to round out the top 20, you're looking at drivers all that were rather able to finish on the lead lap tonight. Roger Shelton, who was involved in his fair share of incidents on the racetrack, still able to bring home a respectable 16th. He'll be followed by the 17th place Frank Flores, and then as we heard a little bit earlier, Robert Panhill snags the top 20 tonight, followed by Jackie Ryan. Unfortunately for him, after a strong run leading laps, it's going to be a 19th place finish. And then the first car 2 laps down tonight, it is Barrett Guppold.
We found our way back to the final page of the results. Richard Springer up and over several times down the front straightaway here at Texas. Stefan Purcell, 22nd, 4 down. He was there in shot, so he did come across the line. Glad to see him finish. But then we get some of the DNFs here. Bradley Walters, 23rd. Anthony Musadi, 24th. We heard what happened to Musadi in his interview there with Logan Hamilton. Cole Freilich will come home 25th, 113 laps down.
A couple more drivers who had their fair share of misfortune tonight. We saw Lauren McFadden involved in what I believe was the first incident tonight. That will be a 26th place finish, 114 laps down. And then a couple of drivers that I don't think we're entirely sure what happened to them in the grand scheme of things. I think Roy Grande might have been involved in an incident as well. It's going to be 27th place and 28th place finishes respectively for each of those drivers. And that rounds out your 28 car field, as you said, up a little bit last week from New Hampshire.
Absolutely, and I think that played a huge, well, I don't say a huge part because I think the same competitors were there up front, but it definitely affected the race, especially in that big one down that restart. It felt like a 28 car field at that point. I think it was like 24. But again, I appreciate the larger field sizes. I think that makes things a little bit more bulkier, a little bit more fuller, and gives, I guess, that bigger NASCAR-esque field size tonight. But Trey, final thoughts here from the Texas Motor Speedway.
That is an incredibly tough prompt to act on just because of all the action we took in tonight. But absolutely. This night, I think the big story to take away from it is the fact that despite the fact that a winner could come from anywhere, the cream of the crop did rise tonight to the top of the leaderboard. You look at the top 5 in the point standings, we've been hitting on it a bit already. Top 5 in the point standings, they're going to make up the top 5 tonight. And it was at a racetrack where I think there could have been a lot more unpredictability. We had a mix of long runs, a lot of stage strategy, which made things fun early in the race, and then that long run to the end. It just goes to show the kind of fun a league can have when you incorporate limited tire sets, 50% fuel limits. It forces a lot more strategy out on the racetrack, a lot more chance for a driver to use a little bit of intuition on top of the virtual pit box.
Absolutely. And Pit Stop TV broadcasts are brought to you by Tucson Sound Art. Your picture, your music. Use code PitStopTV at checkout for 10% off of your wall-mounted sound art device today. By Race Pace. Pick up your pace with Race Pace, a community-driven setup shop and driver development program. By Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine. You deserve the best care that money can buy. And by Whiplash Media, the official graphic and camera provider of Pit Stop TV. And well, that's going to conclude our coverage this evening of the L-TAC Cup Series from Texas Motor Speedway. Pit Stop TV thanks you for tuning in and joining us for tonight's action, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. The channel stays active weekly. You can catch a variety of racing throughout the coming weekdays. Cross Series League racing will continue in the Rallycross cars at Legacy Phoenix's Rallycross course this Sunday evening. From there, BRP features the Pro Dirt Late models at Volusia. Nork Season 13 action continues. First short track of the season this Tuesday at North Wilkesboro, and L-TAC will have will have their all-star race at none other than the dirt track at Bristol. You're not going to want to miss it. L-TAC Points Racing picks up in 2 weeks' time at the Charlotte Roval. Make sure to follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/pitstoptv, on Twitter at pitstoptv_, on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/pit_stop_tv, on Instagram at pit_stop_tv, and on YouTube at www.youtube.com/pitstoptv1. For all of us here at Pit Stop TV, Trey Shuttlesworth with me on the mic this evening, Corey Rexford rocking it on social media coverage. I'm Emerson Arden. Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Sound Art introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. Sound Art ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.